Crow Armstrong going back, looking up, and goodbye baseball. He keeps doing it. Cal Raleigh with another home run, number 31 on the season. Every day a home run, and more records are falling like flies. Holy smokes. J.P. Crawford will score on in front of him. Cal touches home plate right behind J.P. Home run number 31, RBI number 65 on the year. And it's now the Mariners 2 and the Cubbies nothing.
Matt, did I tell you I had a dream about Cal Raleigh?
You had a dream?
About Cal Raleigh.
What was it about, Stacy? There's nothing more interesting than hearing about other people's dreams, especially when it's a subject you don't care about.
I think it's because of maybe it's this, like I fell asleep just thinking about like, what are we going to talk about? Cal's having a big weekend. But I ended up having a dream about Cal Raleigh, and this is what happened. I texted Curtis and Bump and said, guys, I just woke up from a real dream where I was on a bus back from a field trip, but it was like a boat, and Cal Raleigh was a bully and told everyone not to hang out with me, including my own family. He corralled them all to leave and hang out with him instead, and I was on the bus by myself, and I was so sad. That's my Cal Raleigh dream.
Next time you interview him, are you going to, like, confront him about that?
Yeah, I'm going to say, where's your apology? You made everyone leave the bus and not talk to me? That's wildly mean.
But which of you two has 31 home runs right now?
That's a very fair point, Curtis.
I'm going with that guy.
Please tell me your thoughts on Cal Raleigh from this weekend series.
After he hit the home run on Sunday, I just laughed. I laughed. I was like, of course he hits a home run. Of course,
we're at that level.
Of course it's his fourth home run of the weekend. Cubs fans are going to tear their rotator cuffs trying to throw the home run balls back onto the field because that's what they do at Wrigley. Like, it was just like, of course he hits a home run to lead off Sunday's game. 4 home runs on the weekend. Third time this year he has hit 4 home runs over the course of a weekend. He did it against the Twins when they were here a couple weeks ago and did it against the Rangers earlier in the season, too. He is inevitable. He is a machine. His home run pace now, we're not even talking about like home run pace for a catcher. We're talking about home run paces for like some of the all-time great seasons in Major League history. I think he's up near like 66 home runs or something ridiculous. Again, I don't know what his workload is going to look like in the season's second half, but it is just jaw-dropping to watch him have the start to the season that he has had. Like, he has surpassed not just catching superlatives, but like all-time greats too.
Yes. We at 10:30 are going to talk more about kind of putting Cal Raleigh's season in historic context. A month ago, we were talking about how his season compared to other catchers in MLB history. Right now, I feel like, to Curtis's point, it's fair to talk about where it compares to just other hitters in the American League. Like, I remember saying Cal's not going to hit 60 bombs as a joke when I was talking about the Mariners needing to add offensively. And I was like, you can't look at Cal and count on him to, I don't know, set an American League home run record. That's absurd. And now we're finally at a point where maybe it isn't. And part of that's his approach to the plate, too. Again, we're going to talk about a lot of it at 10:30. Curtis, let's talk about the bottom of the lineup. I owe a lot of people an apology. Mostly, all listeners, and also Donovan Solano.
The Donnie Barrels, you mean?
The Donnie Barrels. Donnie Barrels.
That nickname.
I am so sorry. As a great man once said, I was not familiar with your game. No, it was really, really good to see that production from depth pieces from the bottom of the lineup. And I know that I'm not going to expect 2 home runs in a game from Mitch Garver. I'm just not going to, which is exactly what he did on Friday. Nor should I expect 5 RBI from Donovan Solano. But to Donovan's credit, he has been heating up. Of late and earning some more time.
His numbers look like the numbers everybody kind of anticipated from him when he came over in the offseason as a free agent. I mean, his career batting average, or at least the batting average over his last like 4 or 5 seasons, has been around like 280, 290, what have you. He's up to 257 right now, which is a far cry from the like 130 that he was batting just a couple weeks ago. Like, he has really been tearing the cover off the ball. 3 straight 3-hit games for him, all in this Cubs series. He went 9 for 14 in this series against the Cubs. Had a multi-hit game against the Diamondbacks back in their series. his batting average went up in this series almost 60 points. It went from 198 to 257 over the course of just 3 games. That has been a huge lift for this Mariners team. And look, the conversation, we weren't on the air on Friday when Luke Raley got activated off the IL, and people were very vocal in why would you keep Donovan Solano around and DFA yeah. Rowdy Tellez, who had the 11 home runs to this point in the season. Well, Solano clearly turning a corner right here, and a bat like that right now, where it's a lot more dynamic than what Tellez has been as of late, that's going to be huge if he can continue this pace.
And there is, of course, a whole point about handedness, right? Like, there are reasons that they had to move on from Rowdy, and I'm sure those were made clear to Tellez as well. But I think when you're looking at contributions over this series, Curtis, from Mitch Garver, Donovan Solano, Miles Mastroboni, a couple other guys, who feels most likely to be able to contribute moving forward, and what feels most like a flash in the pan?
I think the Garver one kind of feels like a flash in the pan. Like, great day, but wind was howling at Wrigley, and hit multi-home run games from him just are not something that you can bank on, especially when he had not homered off a pitcher before this series in 2020.
And nor have I, so I'm not one to talk.
But honestly, Stacy, if you were in that Mariners lineup, I don't think I would have much faith in you being able to drive in some runs. I think the one that I'm most encouraged by is probably Dom Canzone and what we've seen from him. He's playing like a fourth outfielder. He's playing like a guy that you don't have to stash on your bench and kind of keep your fingers crossed that he doesn't get a lot of at-bats. Like, he has been somebody that I've looked at and said, all right, he's up. Let's see what goes on here. Like, let's see what happens. He's been making stuff happen. He's hit a lot of big home runs, the one against Arizona, 2 over the weekend. Like, that to me is going to be very valuable to this Mariners team, especially as guys are getting more and more healthy. And you've got Luke Raley back. Like, I think that adds a lot to what we're seeing with this Mariners team. All in all, very encouraged by what I saw. Now, the conditions in Chicago obviously led to a lot of offense this weekend. All 3 games, one team scored at least 9 runs in all 3 games. I believe the Mariners scored 9, 7, and 14, which, I mean, considering where this offense was
and
before this weekend. And
considering that one of those was a loss is wild.
Yeah, exactly.
7 runs, not enough.
I don't know if you can expect the Mariners offense to produce the way it had this weekend going into Minnesota, but, like, I'll take it. I'll gladly take it, especially considering where it was just the series prior.
Last question before I keep it moving, and because we aren't discussing this coming up at 10:30, we're going to stay on offense. Any concerns at all, with park factors noted, about pitching from the weekend?
The biggest concern to me is going to be, I mean, Kirby didn't look so hot in Friday's game, and then Hancock got absolutely shelled on Saturday. Those 2 guys, you kind of thought that it was past Kirby, those kinds of starts after his start against the Angels where he struck out 14. But I don't know. Maybe there's still a little bit of rust with that. The conditions weren't helping anybody out either. Hancock, I mean, gosh, outside of the 3 starts, what is it, against the Tigers, Yankees, and now Cubs, his ERA this season, I believe, would be sub-3. But since those 3 starts have gotten away from him.
Consider those 3 lineups.
Yeah, sure. Those 3 lineups are pretty good lineups, for sure. But, man, if he can just kind of figure it out, like, against everybody, like, you've got a very valuable piece at the back end of your rotation. I kind of wonder, like, if that's how he looks against the good teams, like, is your 5th spot in your rotation firmly settled, or is that something you're going to have to look for come the trade deadline?
We'll get back to the Mariners in 15 minutes. Elsewhere from the weekend, Sunday's Game 7 saw the Oklahoma City Thunder beat the Indiana Pacers. And I'll go ahead and say it, in part because of that injury, looks like an Achilles. Did they confirm afterwards?
Confirmed actually just a minute ago. Okay. Shams saying that Halliburton did, in fact, tear his right Achilles.
Which is exactly what everyone saw in the slow-mo replay when you can see what very much looks like his Achilles snap. Rick Carlisle.
What happened with Tyrese is just all of our hearts dropped. But he will be back. I don't have any medical information about what may or may not have happened, but he'll be back in time, and I believe he'll make a full recovery. So he authored one of the great individual playoff runs in the history of the NBA with dramatic play after dramatic play. It was just something that no one's ever seen, and did it as one of 17. That's the beautiful thing about him.
Truly an unbelievable stretch of play from Tyrese Halliburton, and I do want to give him credit with that. It's also hard as Seattle fans not to look at this, and it's not like maybe you are. I'm not like spewing hate at OKC fans per se. I had to stop the game. It was obvious earlier than this that OKC was going to win, but I had to stop the game with about 2 or 3 minutes left in the fourth because I didn't want to watch the celebration.
Well, one thing we learned in the Sonics relocation is that fans ultimately don't get a say in stuff like this. Like, we can root and we can wear the colors of our favorite teams and cheer them on and do all that, but ultimately we don't wield as much power.
Can I also say there's a lot of misinformation among the OKC fan base about that, because I guess whatever helps you sleep at night, you have to be fed a story that no. Sonics fans lost their team because they voted against an arena and they voted against the team, and they had every effort to save it.
Just funded 2 stadiums.
It is not that simple, but again, there's a very warped version of history that's prevalent in OKC.
Yeah, and the Key Arena had been remodeled less than a decade prior to the move.
So I don't blame fans per se for thinking that. I think it's very intentionally misled.
It did bring up a lot of old wounds last night, watching that game kind of tick down to the end. I was like you, I couldn't watch the end. I did not have it within me to watch them celebrate. Didn't watch SportsCenter after the game or anything like that. It was really tough to watch. And I think the only thing that I'm kind of taking solace in today is that a stolen franchise like Oklahoma City, their first championship, gets this asterisk of like, well, what could have happened in Game 7 if Tyrese Halliburton were healthy the entire way? Like, the story from last night's game is not OKC winning. It is Tyrese Halliburton and what could that game have looked like had he been healthy the entire way.
Because they got it within, I want to say 8 or 9 leads.
They had a halftime lead against Oklahoma City last night. So I'm glad that they don't get the kind of shine that most championship teams would get. It stinks that they're probably going to be right back in the thick of things, not just next year, but multiple years down the road, considering all the draft picks that they have acquired over the years, building that team through the draft. So last night stung probably the hardest it stung in terms of NBA viewing for me since the Sonics left. It's almost like I wish that the Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, James Harden era Thunder team had done it, because then it would have just ripped the Band-Aid right off. There wouldn't have been all these years of hoping and praying that Oklahoma City was never going to win the championship. But yeah, last night I couldn't help but think about Howard Schultz and Clay Bennett and the late David Stern, and it's just the blood from all of this is on your guys' hands.
Well,
this could have been so avoided.
It's awful watching Bennett celebrate, and there are so many obviously OKC fans and reporters talking about, hey, props to Clay Bennett for making this happen, and it's the unspoken part of history is that the team was stolen. And again, there is a misinformation campaign, and has been for years and years and years, to make sure that people in OKC are told a story or believe a story wherein Seattle lost their team because of them and not because of the selfishness of billionaires on either side of that sale, which is what really happened.
Truly. There was people point to the attendance in the final season of the Sonics. It's we all knew the Sonics were leaving. It wasn't official, but we could see it coming from a mile away. And they're well, the Sonics were 28th in attendance in their final season. It's no one wants to go give this ownership group money.
Those stories are always more complicated. Look at the conversation we all just had about the A's.
Right.
Is anyone stupid enough, truly stupid enough, to think, A's fans,
they
just weren't supportive, they weren't showing up? Yeah, I mean, if you isolate a single game and you see 5,000 fans in attendance for a major league game and you're oh my God, wow, they really didn't care. And then you realize that circumstances were encouraged by which that team could be relocated. It is a slightly different story and a slightly different approach. This one being in with the A's at the time, of just very selfish team owner that wanted to go somewhere else and that kind of sunk his own team. And the other being a bad faith deal wherein everyone knew what was happening and there was a chance to save a franchise. Also, like, I'm sorry, should we just punish every single city when they have bad years? Or, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like when you struggle with stadium funding, like relocation is always a sin. Always.
Mm-hmm.
And
It's the worst thing in professional sports.
And I don't think, barring two teams' exodus to LA, I don't think it's something that happens nearly as much anymore because the league understands that the politics of relocation and what it looks like are different. It used to be this is on fans, shame on you. And just as a society, we've turned much more to being very critical of team owners and the powers that be. Like we're just we see it differently. I don't think that the Sonics get relocated if it's 2025 and
Probably
the same things
not.
are happening.
I mean, they did everything they could to keep the Kings in Sacramento when Chris Hansen tried to purchase that team and move them up here. We've seen a lot of others. I mean, the NBA so desperately wanted to keep then the Hornets in New Orleans, they're now the Pelicans, that the league purchased the team rather than having it get sold to an outside buyer.
And we have the honor of being the team that kind of probably prompted them to be like, ooh, we can't do that again.
As far as I can recall, there has not been an NBA relocation since the Sonics back in 07, 08. Like, I think they have yet to fully recover from that black eye, and they're not. I don't see it ever going away until Seattle gets a team back.
All right. Well, we do have an NBA trade headline to get to with headline rewrites, and then I promise we won't focus too much because I know this is painful for a lot of listeners. Let's get to headline rewrites.
Extra, extra, read all about it.
Headline rewrites.
We must make headlines.
The real story behind the headlines in today's news with Bump and Stacy.
Headline number one, Cal Raleigh hit 4 home runs. Dom Canzone, Donovan Solano, and Mitch Garver each had multi-home run games. The Mariners took 2 of 3 from the NL Central leading Cubs. What's the real headline?
Look, Donnie Barrels, I apologize. I wasn't familiar with your game.
He's out of nowhere, really.
So sorry.
I love to see it. Love to see it from Mitch Garver. Heck, I mean, can you count on that kind of production happening series in and series out? I don't think so, but you're not going to apologize for it. Not at all. Like,
No.
Mariners put tons of runs up on the board. It was an entertaining weekend for sure.
Yes.
Which is something that I don't know if you can say a lot about the Mariners, especially over the last month or so.
I am just grateful that we have this series to talk about and, some really fun stuff to kind of bring into a series against the Twins, because nothing is more exhausting than when you've got I'm being
It's
selfish
all
here, when
bad
you got a
news.
4-hour show and you're like, so Cal got a double and that's good. those shows are exhausting, and I know that's the last thing that any listener cares about, but selfishly, I was grateful for this series.
Headline rewrites.
Headline 2, it's the return of Netflix's Quarterback. That's right, it comes back this summer after a year away. It'll star Kirk Cousins again. He was in season 1, Joe Burrow, and Jared Goff. Those will be the quarterbacks featured. The series premieres on July 8th. What's the real headline?
Spoiler alert for this one, you guys. No one wins the Super Bowl this time around.
What?
I know. I'm so sorry. I know that a lot of you guys are really
Okay,
excited to
wow.
watch it, but it is a spoiler that none of these guys win.
Who's of those 3, whose story are you most excited to watch unfold over however many episodes it's going to be? Because we all know, obviously,
Yes.
like you said, how it ends, but all 3 of them have very intriguing 2024 seasons.
Kirk has the messiest, though I'm the least interested. And I find him very likable. He was really likable and I think gained a lot of new fans, too, on the first edition of Netflix's Quarterback. Obviously, having been benched during the season for Michael Penix Jr., his story is going to be the juiciest. But I'm very interested with Joe Burrow. I find Cincinnati to be a really interesting team. There's some really complicated dynamics with that front office. We're going to watch someone who played like an MVP oversee a team that doesn't make the playoffs, and I'm just curious to see what that's like.
Especially, gosh, and kind of seeing how everything has barreled towards what it has been this offseason for the Bengals, where they've been by far the most dramatic team in the NFL.
Well, and that, obviously both games against the Ravens, but that game against the Ravens that went back and forth, that was one of my favorite games of the season. I had so much fun watching that game, and I wonder if they got that one on camera.
I think so. They do a really good job. Netflix, with their docuseries, they do a really good job. I'm just finishing now the Red Sox one from 2024. I watched Court of Gold about the Paris Olympic basketball tournament. They do a really good job of capturing everything.
Headline rewrites.
Headline 3, Kevin Durant has been traded to the Houston Rockets in exchange for Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks, and a haul of draft picks. What's the real headline?
Because we know next year's champion isn't coming from the East, we're officially rooting for every other Western Conference team to dethrone OKC.
Go West, young man.
Go West. Go Rockets.
Westward ho.
We've always said that.
Blast off, Rockets.
To outer space we go.
That's right.
That's
the final frontier, right?
What us Rockets fans always say.
The last frontier?
Yeah.
Alaska.
Go rock on, Rockets.
I will say, though, the only cool thing about this trade is that it reunites the final two Sonics, Kevin Durant and Jeff Green. They are back together, I believe, for the fourth time in their career. They played together, obviously, in Seattle, Oklahoma City, Brooklyn, and now here in Houston. So that's at least some good to come from last night.
Yeah.
The last two Sonics back together again.
The 2025 MLB All-Star ballot is open. Cal, Julio, JP, and the crew need your help to secure a spot at this year's Midsummer Classic in Atlanta. Though I'm a little PO'd at Cal right now after turning everyone against me.
He did nothing wrong.
I'm really upset about it.
Cal Raleigh did nothing wrong.
He needs to apologize. You can vote up to 5 times per day. I won't be. Every day through Thursday, June 26th at MLB.com/vote. No, Cal's having an absolutely phenomenal season. And about a month ago, we were putting it into historic context, looking at how it compares to previous catchers. But I think now we have to expand that view. That's coming up next.
Breaker, this is the Big Rig Mariner. Mercy sakes, we got the Big Dumper unloading all over Big League pitching. Over.
To the one-inch track to the wall, and it's gone, and he does it. Number 30 the other way here at Wrigley Field, Cal Raleigh.
He's baseball's breakout player in 2025, making his case for American League MVP. And this is where you follow along the Big Dumper's Big Run. Seattle Sports on 710 and the Seattle Sports app.
When businesses thrive, communities score. That's why Bank of America is the official bank of FIFA Club World Cup here in Seattle. And our more than 95 local business specialists are ready to help your business win. What would you like the power to do? Learn more at bankofamerica.com/local business. Bank of America, official bank of FIFA Club World Cup 2025. Bank of America Corporation, all rights reserved.
If you want that summer body you've always dreamed of, then this message is for you, ladies, and you men, too. Get rid of extra stubborn fat and address areas of loose skin around the waistline, chin, and under the upper arms with ProSculpt, the new one-day instant permanent fat removal and skin tightening treatment. Maybe you've tried the lasers, fat-freezing methods, even those new pills, but without the desired results. ProSculpt is different. It's minimally invasive, performed while fully awake, gentle, yet powerful. Designed to target the waistline, chin, neck, arms, and thighs, ProSculpt uses FDA-cleared plasma technology to deliver immediate, permanent fat-reducing and skin-tightening results, all in just one visit. If you want that summer body this summer, then you must act now. Go to ProSculpt.com today to schedule your free consultation. Get $250 off. For instant, permanent fat reduction and skin tightening, visit ProSculpt.com.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today. 1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate your car today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car, running or not, can be picked up as soon as the next day. You'll get a maximum tax deduction and a vacation voucher.
Cars for Kids. K-A-R-S, Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
Get in the zone, AutoZone. Jane has 150,000 miles on her truck, and she's proud of that. Jane's secret? AutoZone, where friendly AutoZoners help her find the right parts. Jane's brother Josh only cares that his car starts and goes, but when it doesn't, he also goes to AutoZone, where friendly AutoZoners help with free services. No hassles, just help. Everything you need, nothing you don't. Get in the zone, AutoZone. Restrictions apply.
If you need to hire, you know it takes time. Well, what if you could meet with qualified candidates the very next day? Now you can with Zip Intro from ZipRecruiter. You simply pick a time and it does all the work of finding and scheduling qualified candidates for you. Then you choose who you want to talk to and meet with great people on back-to-back video calls as soon as the next day.
Try Zip Intro for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. Zip Intro. Post jobs today. Talk to qualified candidates tomorrow.
The home of the Mariners.
It is gone! Cal Raleigh, 2-run home run!
Hear every pitch on 710 and the Seattle Sports app.
It is that time of year. I cannot wait for the weather to get warm like it is now on consecutive days. That means I can break the motorcycle out, ride to work, ride all over the place, and I love it more than just about anything, but I also know that it's not a matter of if, but when you get in an accident, what are you going to do? Well, I'll tell you, when you're injured in a motorcycle crash, don't settle for firms that say they're motorcycle lawyers. Trust the ones who live it. Law Tigers has been a part of the writing community for nearly 25 years nationwide. They are here 24/7, 365 days a year because writers deserve real support when they need it. Law Tigers is the resource writers can turn to when they are in need. Law Tigers is out at all the events and supporting all clubs and shops. The Law Tigers are always by your side. Your case evaluation is always free. There are no fees until your case settles. The Law Tigers, you never ride alone. Law Tigers, Washington's motorcycle lawyers. Jimmy Cook, 539 Broadway, Unit 104, Tacoma, Washington, 98402.
Dave Wyman here for Harley Exteriors, a local company serving all of Western Washington for 23 years. Olympic Series windows are offered exclusively by Harley Exteriors, manufactured right here in Washington, specifically designed for our Pacific Northwest homes and climate. This is the window you want. It looks absolutely stunning, much better than a traditional vinyl window, and these windows last up to 60 years. They're going to lower your energy bills and provide year-round comfort. They come with a double lifetime, fully transferable warranty, meaning not only are you covered for glass breaking or damaged seals, it's going to help your resale and home value. Very affordable with options like 0 payments and 0 interest up to 12 months for qualified buyers. And this June, buy 3 windows and get 1 free, plus an additional $200 off your entire project. Think Harley Exteriors for windows, doors, and more in the Puget Sound. Call 8-333-HARLEY or go to harleyexteriors.com.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
You know when they say if enough of the issues have to do with you, then you're the problem?
Right.
That's how I feel as a person where like my whole thing with my family is that my sister and my family just constantly make fun of me.
Yeah, they're always roasting you.
Constantly roasting me.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would always think Curtis is so much like Sam. They're so similar. They're the same age. They have so much in common. And then I realized, no, it's just another person roasting me. Like I'm just so roastable. I don't know what it is. And I fear, Curtis, that listeners are now like that where
They're
it's
catching
like
on.
It's like just dunking on me all the time.
Well,
someone says, I said I had a dream that Cal Raleigh, I'm show prepping, right? So I'm coming up with all these segments about Cal Raleigh literally as I'm falling. So I'm just have a dream where Cal Raleigh's in my dream. And we were on a bus, like a field trip bus, but it was a boat.
Yeah.
And Cal was like in my class, but we're all adults. And my family's on the boat too. And he gets every single person. Like he starts saying like, Stacy's so annoying. And he gets everyone to be like, we're out of here. And they're like, they go to hang out with Cal and everyone leaves me. And he's like spreading gossip about me. And I was like, that's so rude.
Wow.
Someone says, Stacy, the dream would have been perfect if it was Cal and Willa Rogers saying, "Don't hang out with Stinky." Willa's saying, "Stinky Stacy." Whole Rogers
she can't
family
really say
bullies
Stinky
me.
so much. She's Tinky. That's kind of how she says it.
God.
The great thing though about Willa, if she were in this dream, is that she would say it to your face with a smile on her face. She
Matt,
would
do we have sound of Willa not calling in Brenna Rogers, a co-conspirator of Curtis Rogers, teaching their daughter that I wear diapers as an adult?
we don't have any. We don't have any audio.
No, this
of
is
that.
real. I need everyone to know this is real. That
we did.
My two friends, who I have seen through a marriage and two babies now,
when Willow was like 2,
told their daughter that I wear diapers and I am a cautionary tale for potty training Willa.
Yeah, when we.
I just need everyone to know that.
You're kind of our straw man, where it's like,
so messed up.
Don't be like her. No.
Yes. So she thinks that I'm a bad kid who still wears diapers, and I'm the person that she has to learn not to.
Hey,
if
when
that's
you gotta
the sacrifice
motivate,
that I need to make.
Yeah.
Anyways,
by all means necessary.
Speaking of Cal Raleigh, about a month ago, a little less than a month ago, we were talking about Cal Raleigh's season and putting it into historic context, Curtis, with what we'd seen from other catchers and just really, really driving home that, hey, we haven't seen anything like this before from a catcher. Is it time to expand that just a little bit and talk about how we haven't seen something like this before for whether it's a switch hitter, whether it's someone in the American League on track for a home run record? I mean, Sarah Langs from yesterday, Cal Raleigh's 31 home runs are 6 more than any other catcher. Forget just catchers. At that point, you've launched into outer space.
Right.
You're beyond just comparing to other catchers. We're now talking about if he was in the National League, he'd be an MVP frontrunner, and it would be clear as day. In the American League, is he on pace to get close to a home run record? He's not on pace for 70,
right?
But 60s? Yeah, he is on pace for that. And you see the approach at the plate, and you think, I don't know that this is just Cal on a hot streak. It's June 23rd.
And yeah, by this time of the year, it's not just he's on a heater. This is probably who he is. This is what kind of season we're going to see from him. And on, I think, was it Saturday, he hit the home run to have the greatest power numbers of any switch hitter in the first half of the season. I think, what was it, his 30th home run that he hit? And you look at some of the greatest switch hitters of all time, Mickey Mantle being the greatest, and he's obviously revered as one of the probably 10 greatest baseball players of all time. Chipper Jones, one of the greatest third basemen of all time. Eddie Murray hit over 500 home runs in his career. None of those switch hitters have had a first half to a season like Cal Raleigh has had. Our guy, Jordan Schusterman, who you can hear every Wednesday at 11 a.m., has this crazy stat. Only Aaron Judge, Shohei Ohtani, Geno Suarez, and Kyle Schwarber have hit more home runs this season in all of baseball than Cal Raleigh has hit just left-handed. Cal has 21 home runs left-handed. Only 4 guys in all of baseball have more home runs total than Cal has hit left-handed. And then Cal is at 10 while batting right-handed. In addition to hitting .315 with a .708 slugging percentage, batting right-handed.
What do you see at the plate from Cal?
It
sure feels like
it's a confidence that I don't know if we've ever seen from him, and it just feels like every time he puts the bat on the ball, it is loud contact. It's not, and he doesn't get cheated anymore, and it is so jaw-dropping to watch now because every time he is up, I'm expecting home run. I'm expecting the ball to be hit with an exit velocity of 110 wherever it goes. And it really doesn't matter where the ball is being placed anymore. He is going to all fields with it. I know a lot of people will point to the torpedo bat, and that is a different thing that he is using this season that he has not used in prior seasons. And maybe that has been a key to unlocking some of these power numbers, but also this is his first year with Kevin Seitzer as his hitting coach. This is his first full year with Edgar Martinez as kind of the overseer of all things hitting in the organization. I wonder if those two guys were able to make Cal more of a complete hitter, because before this season, he had been a 3 true outcomes guy. He had been a home run, walk, strikeout kind of player, and that has definitely, he is still kind of that guy in a way, but he's a much more complete hitter. There was always that talk of Cal heading into the 2025 season where it was like, oh, man, what if he could just up that batting average to like 260, 270? He's always had a really pretty swing. Well, here we are, 276 on, June 23rd with a 1042 OPS. Like, this is what we're seeing out of Cal being this complete hitter. He's already got 14 doubles. His career high is 23. So, like, he's approaching that number, too, and we're just in the first half.
Can we talk about the Dodgers also posting out that graphic about which catcher would you rather have? I'll take the one with 31 home runs.
Yeah, Will Smith, a fine catcher.
Will Smith is the second best producer at catcher.
Sure. And that's
year.
Not a bad thing.
No, he's having a phenomenal season, and the Dodgers should be really, really excited. But that was a laughable kind. You got the baseball heads. Well, you got to look at average. You got to look at on base. No, I'm going to look at home runs when there's that many, bro. Dingers, it's not like we're talking about 15 home runs to 10 or 15 home runs to 20. We're talking about 31 of the most valuable thing in baseball.
Well, and it's not even just the offensive production too, but it's also defensively. It's the handling of the pitching staff. It's defensive runs saved. It's all of those things. Salvador Perez, who is considered one of the best catchers of the last decade plus in baseball, won a World Series MVP, hit 48 home runs just a couple of years ago. His career WAR, I think, is 18 something. Cal Raleigh's through 4+ seasons is already 15.7. We're talking about a catcher that is approaching, some of the best of the last era in baseball. I wouldn't say Perez is the best catcher of that time frame because you've got Buster Posey, you've got Joe Mauer, you've got Yadier Molina in that group. You're talking about a catcher that is very much kind of rewriting how we see catching over the last decade plus. And Cal's doing this in such a short time span.
Yeah. And I think the thing that I always linger on when talking about phenomenal seasons, whether it was collectively from a pitching staff last year, whether it's individually from Cal this year, is don't waste it. Don't waste it. Do whatever you can to take advantage of someone who in any other year would be MVP. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So what can you do now? And maybe coming off a really hot series, we'll see what the road trip brings. They're facing the Twins beginning tonight. It is Gemini right now, so who knows?
Yeah, totally. I know what you're talking about.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, I think that, a successful road trip, the hotter you get before the All-Star break, the more you just start thinking come on, man. I don't want to have a lot of Felix-esque seasons where you go, remember this guy? Oh, man, remember when that one Mariners team had this guy, and this guy?
Yeah.
I hate those conversations. They're fun because it kind of causes you to think oh, man, how crazy that you had this collection of talent or how insane that this guy's season was here. But so many of those seasons, in fact, every single one of them, end up without a trip to a World Series.
Yeah, I don't want us to talk about a potential Cal Raleigh MVP season the way we talk about Felix's, where Felix won the Cy Young with, I believe, still the lowest win total of any starting pitcher in Major League history.
Was one of the unluckiest.
I think he only
pitchers.
won 13 games that year, but had an ERA close to 2.
We're going to switch gears. We will get back to the Mariners coming up at 11:45 noon, so we're certainly not done. I mean, again, a great series coming out of Chicago. They're heading to Minnesota. There's a lot that we're watching from this team. But there was a new column on Sam Darnold and an interview with Sam Darnold for The Athletic from Michael Silver. Mike Silver is going to join us at 11 to talk about his interview, and before then, we're going to talk about what we learned from this feature with Sam Darnold that's coming up next.
Wyman and Bob, afternoons 2 to 7.
The one, the only Tim Kirkchin is with us. How are you, sir?
Well, I'm just as confused as you are about the Mariners, if they're going to get really good or not.
Is it hard to understand where their needs truly are as we approach that trade deadline?
This team is due for a great stretch of great starting pitching. If they can score a few runs, maybe they can really make a playoff berth in the American League.
Dave Wyman and Bob Stelton, afternoons 2 to 7 on Seattle Sports, the app, YouTube, and your smart speaker.
Hey, it's Dr. Coogan from Eastside Weight Loss Clinic. We've been fortunate to work with over 4,000 local people and help them hit some pretty amazing weight loss goals. I'm joined by 2 of them right now, Mike Salk and Ryan Rowland-Smith. Ryan, every time I see you on TV, I'm even more proud of all you've accomplished on the plan.
I'm so happy. For years, I've been trying to find a consistent plan that delivered results with my busy family and work schedule. Eastside Weight Loss Clinic not only delivered, but it was an absolute breeze. It was so enjoyable because the plan wasn't hard. I was able to eat delicious food, and I literally lost weight every single day.
Eastside Weight Loss Clinic works so well for me. I'm happy to hear more people are using it to lose weight and prioritize their health as well. It's an awesome plan. Schedule a free 50-minute consultation today. Go to eastsidweightlossclinic.com.
No surgery, no exercise, no packaged meals, no drugs or injections. Just delicious food and a plan that works. Schedule a free 15-minute consultation today at eastsidweightlossclinic.com.
Dr. Ryan Coogan, D.C. Results may vary.
Overburdened with a bunch of stuff you don't want anymore, but feel bad throwing it away? John here with Happy Hauler, Seattle's eco-friendly junk removal. We prioritize donating and recycling. We'll help get your items to those in need instead of going to the landfill. At Happy Hauler, we pride ourselves on responsibility, community, and sustainability. We're a family-run small business that provides junk removal, donations, and recycling. Make yourself, your community, and the planet happy. It's time to reclaim your space. HappyHauler.com, hauling with a heart.
Why is Mazda of Everett the #1 dealer on the West Coast? Mazda of Everett is locally owned and operated for 20 years. They work hard to get you their best deal every time and to make sure you drive away happy. With over 700 new Mazdas, they stock more than anyone in the Seattle area. Find out for yourself why people keep coming back to Mazda of Everett. MazdaofEverett.com. Claims based on Mazda USA inventory and sales reports.
What's the biggest mistake you can make when selling your home? Settling for less money. That never happens with Orchard. Disappointing offers can wear you down, causing you to settle for thousands less. You don't have to settle when you sell with Orchard. Orchard reinvented the real estate industry by guaranteeing your home sale and helping you sell on the market for top dollar. First, Orchard gives you cash up front so you can buy and move into your new home first, on your timeline. No waiting, no showings, no double moves. Then once you're all settled in, your Orchard agent helps sell your home on market for top dollar. Here's what one Orchard customer said. I never could have sold without Orchard. I made way more than I expected, and it couldn't have been easier. With Orchard, you never have to settle for less. Buy before you sell and get top dollar for your home with Orchard. Curious how much your home is worth? Visit Orchard.com to get your free home valuation. That's Orchard.com. Orchard.com.
Do you know a woman who gives her all to the sports community, encourages diversity, and empowers those around her? Stacy Rost here. Seattle Sports is partnering with the Seattle chapter of WISE, which stands for Women in Sports and Events. We want to recognize a woman in our community, and we need your help finding her. Nominations for the 4th annual Women of Inspiration Award are open until July 11th. The winner will receive a donation to the cause of their choice. Nominate an inspiring woman today at WOISeattle.org. That's WOISeattle.org.
The home of the Mariners, Seattle Sports.
Cal swinging a drive, deep to right field.
Every pitch of every Mariners game is on the Seattle Sports app.
Washington is leading the way in car theft reduction. Car thefts dropped by 32% from 2023 to 2024 in our state, but there's still work to be done. Help keep your car safe with these simple and important tips. Don't leave your car running unattended. Park in well-lit areas. Lock up every time. Keep valuables out of sight. Use an anti-theft device like a steering wheel lock. Prevent the theft and keep you and your vehicle safe. These tips are brought to you by the Washington Auto Theft Prevention Authority.
The future is here, so why is your internet stuck in the past? With Quantum Fiber Internet, you can get next-level multi-gig speed on a reliable fiber network. Fair and honest pricing with no annual contracts or bundling required. And whole home 360 Wi-Fi to make sure your devices are ready to take you where you want to go. So you can stream, post, game, surf, like, and love to your heart's content. You do you. Let Quantum Fiber Internet take care of the rest. Learn more at quantumfiber.com. Limited availability, service, and speed in select locations only.
Walking away from an interaction with a customer that says, I can't believe how easy this was. I can't thank you enough for helping me.
Our strategy with pricing is not to be the highest price and not to be the lowest price, but to be a really good price and to provide a really good experience to the customer.
Yeah, I have a ton of really memorable customers. Afterwards, to thank us, he sent us this beautiful basket of like candies and fruits and stuff. It was just really sweet. It, really like it felt like we were truly helping.
Receiving a handwritten letter that's personalized to a salesperson or a service advisor or a technician expressing gratitude, and then taking that home and sharing that with your family and hanging that on your refrigerator, that's the difference.
You hear it from one person, and then another, and another. You come to realize it's not a script, it's a belief. The LJ Way is the Lee Johnson Auto family.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is
Duck and Tinky.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
This is a good start to my week.
It's quality production behind the glass. They're Matt Nelson.
Thank you.
Back
Thank you.
after a week, Stacy.
After signing a big deal with the Seahawks, Sam Darnold knows he needs to prove himself again. The author of this column, one Michael Silver, will be joining us in less than 15 minutes. First, I wanted to go over not just kind of what stands out from this column, Curtis, and maybe the things that are lingering with us that we want to ask Mike about, but also what it left us feeling about Sam Darnold. And I have two things to take away from it. I'll start with what stood out, and that was his point about Tom Brady. He said, while some believe the Raiders would try to sign Darnold, minority owner Tom Brady was not in favor of that approach, according to a source familiar with the franchise's internal discussions.
Yeah, I mean, having the history of Tom Brady, who's the greatest New England Patriot ever, and Sam Darnold, who is one of the biggest like jet bust quarterbacks of all time, I would imagine that played a lot into Brady's view of Sam Darnold.
Well, I guess they're two different quarterbacks.
Sure. Like, Brady obviously did not turn over the ball at all, and that is still a portion of Darnold's game that he unfortunately came back to bite him in the season's final two games last year. But, yeah, I think Tom Brady has in his mind a group of probably like 8 to 10 quarterbacks or so that he probably likes around the league. Darnold didn't fit that mold. And look, it's been a long time since we've seen Darnold in a starting role the way we did last year. And I don't know how closely Tom Brady was following the Vikings or whatnot. But yeah, I mean, look, Tom Brady can think all he wants about Sam Darnold and what he was as a quarterback, specifically in like his Jets days. But I don't think you can definitively say that's who Sam Darnold is anymore, especially after the year that he had with Minnesota.
The team maybe being seriously interested in Aaron Rodgers was another one, but I'll get to my overall takeaway, and that was I don't leave a lot of room, just being blunt, I don't leave a lot of room in my brain for the idea that Sam Darnold could be better here in Seattle than he was in Minnesota, nor that he could be better than Geno Smith. And it's not to say that Geno Smith is leaps and bounds better than Sam Darnold, who has a lot of tools and weapons of his own. It's that I have just kind of resigned myself to feeling that part of Seattle's effort this season, Curtis, is, okay, yeah, we're going to maybe downgrade at quarterback a little bit, but we're going to get some athleticism. And importantly, we're going to change the way we play. We're not asking Sam to throw as much as Geno did. We're going to have a run game. We're going to have an offensive line. And that's just kind of where I've settled, right? That's how I'm watching the season, the offseason, signings, all kinds of things. What if Sam Darnold takes a step forward?
Right.
I just have not let myself think that.
Well, and I know there's been a lot of criticism for how the Seahawks were, not willing to meet Geno Smith where he was at and say, yes, we want to invest in you long term as our starting quarterback and make you our quarterback here. But also, like, what has John Schneider ever done here in Seattle that would warrant criticism for how he's handled the quarterback spot?
Right.
Because outside of like the Charlie Whitehurst trade, there has not been a single moment in Seattle where he has
taken a big misstep,
where he has mishandled the quarterback spot. Signing Matt Flynn and then drafting Russell Wilson as sort of insurance on that, and then finding out, oh wait, Russell Wilson is a baller, like let's make him our starting quarterback, and then he's the starting quarterback for a decade here in Seattle. And then having the foresight to see, like, I don't think it's going to work out with Russell Wilson here long term. Let's move on. And then they pivot to Geno Smith, who we'll all admit is a Pete Carroll guy, and Pete obviously had a lot of influence in Geno being the starting quarterback here in Seattle because Pete was the guy signing off on every single move. But like Schneider obviously had to sign off on that too, and Schneider was the guy that put together the trade package with Denver. And now here we are with Sam Darnold, sort of the third era of starting quarterbacks in Seattle. So what we have seen from a Schneider front office with also, a lot of Carroll influence has been a group that can find good quarterback play. And I don't think Schneider would have given Darnold the money that they gave him if he didn't think that there was some good quarterback play still in that right arm, even after the end of the season that he had.
Well, and it's all a different approach too, right? Like as Curtis pointed out with many examples, John Schneider knows quarterbacks well. I don't personally think that he looks at Sam Darnold and says, this is going to be a massive step forward. This is our Josh Allen.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think so. I think that what he's doing is saying, I want to be a different team. Not only do I want maybe younger guys, more athletic guys, but guys who really want to be here, who are excited to be here, but I want to run the ball. And I want to have this wide zone offense. We're going to have Kubiak, and we have a quarterback that we feel like might be better suited to that with Darnold. We're again, I keep saying the same thing over, but like I do think that they're counting on not needing Darnold to do as much. But in Michael Silver's column, he details the ways that Sam has kind of continued to grow, including with San Francisco, a little bit with Carolina, with San Francisco, and how that was kind of a long time coming. It wasn't like he landed in Minnesota and suddenly figured out how to throw a ball. Like, that's really not what happened. No one thinks that's what happened, but if this is yet another step in his continued development with a team that has developed guys, including guys that needed a second chance, like Geno, or that flew under the radar, like Russ, why wouldn't you give them the benefit of the doubt with a quarterback continuing to develop here? Yeah,
we're on year 14 of John Schneider's tenure here in Seattle. And I get that the last couple of years, the wins and losses have kind of been stagnant, 9 wins, 10 wins last year. But when they made the decision to move on from Russell Wilson, we knew it was not going to be, I think, overnight that they would find their quarterback of the future. But when you're trying to find that guy, you do have to kind of take these singles and doubles as they come before you hit the home run. Maybe Jalen Milroe is that guy long term. And if Darnold has a decent season, that's only going to benefit Milroe because it's a year for him to learn. It's a year for him to get up to speed at the NFL level. I don't think anybody looked at the Milroe pick and said, oh, that's a day one starter. No, that's going to be a guy who you invest in. That's going to be a guy who you surround with a lot of talent, and hopefully one day he takes over as a starting quarterback.
Let's bring the author of this column, Michael Silver, on. He joins us next. Curtis Rogers in for Michael Bumpus. This is Bump and Stacy.
Breaker, this is the Big Rig Mariner. Mercy sakes, we got the big dumper unloading all over big league pitching. Over.
To the one track to the wall, and it's gone, and he does it. Number 30 the other way here at Wrigley Field, Cal Raleigh.
He's baseball's breakout player in 2025, making his case for American League MVP. And this is where you follow along the Big Dumpers Big Run. Seattle Sports on 710 and the Seattle Sports app.
When it comes to the security of your business, doubts can creep in about who you're trusting to protect it. At Bay Alarm, we got you. For nearly 80 years, we've been putting our customers' minds at ease with our advanced technology and personalized support. Feeling insecure about your current security service? Visit bayalarm.com today.
Are you curious about who offers the best deals on top-rated Samsung, LG, and Sony TVs? The answer is surprising. It's not online, and it's not the warehouse clubs. The best deals on top-rated TVs are at Video Only. Don't believe it? Then check out the trade-in deals at Video Only. How about $500 for your old TV? Try doing that online. Before you buy that new TV, drop into Video Only. If you don't, you'll be sorry.
Wait, if I work today, why should I have to wait 2 weeks to get my money? With Earnin, you can access your pay as you work instead of waiting days and weeks for a paycheck. Get up to $150 a day with a max of $750 between paydays. No interest, no credit checks, and no mandatory fees. Because, hey, it's your money. Download the Earnin app now to get it and join millions of people making any day payday. That's EARNIN. Earnin is not a bank. Access limits are based on your earnings and risk factors. Available in select states. Expedited transfers available for a fee. Terms and restrictions apply. Visit earnin.com for full details.
Hey, Brock Hewitt here for my friends at PCF Group, or People Come First Construction Group, and that's exactly what they did when we made the call a couple years ago. We wanted to redo our outdoor space, wanted to add a deck, an outdoor living, a television, and a kitchen. And PCF Group, wow, they more than delivered. And if you're interested in building a stunning outdoor area like we did, I cannot recommend them enough. Reach out before the good weather arrives, and their schedule, well, it's going to fill up. So whether you're looking for a complete outdoor living space or a very specific project like an underdeck ceiling, deck, patio cover, railings, PCF has you covered. Design now and pay later. In fact, get 12 months, no interest and no payments, and up to $6,000 off and a $1,000 Amazon gift card. Request a complimentary design and estimate consultation at 425-629-8476 or project ideas. Explore photos at pcfgroup.com. That's 425-629-8476.
Hey, baseball fans, Rick Riz here. I'm excited to introduce you to my good friend Keith Dashafy, owner of Pella Windows and Doors of Western Washington. Keith?
Thanks, Rick. At Pella Windows and Doors, we pride ourselves on delivering top-quality windows and doors that enhance the beauty and energy efficiency of your home. Our products are built to last with innovative designs and exceptional craftsmanship. Whether you're looking to upgrade your windows or install new doors, Pella has you covered.
That's fantastic, Keith. Don't wait. Schedule your free appointment today at PellaPNW.com.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car can be picked up as soon as the next day. Receive a tax deduction and vacation voucher.
1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
This is a test of your emergency alert system.
Live at Muckleshoot Event Center, Sunday, July 13th, 8 p.m. You've seen him on the screen. You've heard him on the radio. Now see him live for an unforgettable night. Get tickets before they sell out at MuckleshootCasino.com. Tyrese, only at Muckleshoot Casino Resort.
Riverside Roofing has earned GAF Master Elite President's Club certification, which puts them in the 99.9th percentile of all roofers nationally. They're right here out of Marysville. You can find them at riversideroofingllc.com, and they are the roofing company you can trust.
T-Mobile Park is your #1 spot for 4th of July weekend. Don't miss the Mariners postgame fireworks show on Thursday, July 3rd, presented by T-Mobile, after the squad squares off against the Royals. Then, the Mariners are keeping the patriotic Palooza rolling with 2 must-have giveaways against the Pirates. On Friday, July 4th, the first 10,000 fans will score a patriotic trucker hat. And on Saturday, July 5th, the first 15,000 fans will head home with a J.P. Crawford basketball jersey. Get your tickets today at mariners.com.
Let's go! This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
The Mariners took 2 of 3 from the Cubs over the weekend. Their road trip continues with the series opener today against the Minnesota Twins. First pitch at 4:40 p.m. Pregame show starts at 3:30 right here on Seattle Sports. The LSU Tigers won their second national title in 3 years on Sunday with a 5-3 victory over Coastal Carolina in the Men's College World Series Finals.
Snapshot, brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time. From the Quantum Fiber Studio
This is Bump and Stacy.
on Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app and at seattlesports.com.
Now, here are your hosts, Michael Bumpus and Stacy Ross.
After signing a big deal with the Seahawks, Sam Darnold knows he needs to prove himself again. The latest by The Athletic's Michael Silver, the author, joining us right now. Hey, Michael, how's it going?
Great, Stacy. How are you?
Fantastic. I mean, it's beautiful here in Seattle. We've got mini camp in the rearview mirror, OTAs in the rearview, and I loved your column by Sam. Curtis and I talked about it a bit earlier, just about the potential for Sam Darnold here. And in full disclosure, and it's also my first question for you, I'd spent so much of the offseason just kind of assuming Sam Darnold's not going to touch the numbers he had last year. Sam Darnold's not going to be better than Geno. And then had more recently been trying to challenge myself to think, like, well, why not? I mean, maybe there's potential for improvement. Let's have some fun and try to think about, the different storylines we could be talking about here. But I'm curious, as a writer, as a reporter, what is your own or was your own perception of Sam before your interview?
I spent a bunch of time around him in 2023. I was a San Francisco Chronicle columnist at the time, and I was around the 49ers constantly. And, he had some time in his hands during most of the open locker room sessions because he was the backup. And, I remember when he got drafted and all the hype, watched him play in college a lot, obviously. And, he seemed to me, I was kind of looking for signs that maybe he was a broken guy or, was just kind of surviving. But he still, seemed to have a presence about him. And, I think part of that was just because Kyle Shanahan and the coaches really built him up early, almost in a comical way. The first day of training camp, I had a conversation with Kyle Shanahan, and we were talking about the battle between Darnold and Trey Lance at the time for the number 2 job. And Kyle just launched right in and started comparing Sam to Steve Young. And, I covered Steve Young. Kyle's father was his coordinator for part of that. And that's kind of high praise. I was like, whoa, dude, ease up for a second. And then, he clearly – Kyle's enthusiasm kind of filtered out and resonated through the locker room and into the public a little bit. So I knew that was kind of a good thing. And then very early last season, while I was still at the Chronicle, the 49ers, I think in week 2, went up to Minneapolis and played the Vikings, and Darnold played really, really well with, Jefferson got hurt in the game. He was down to like the 4th and 5th receiver and guys that most people have never heard of, and he was just throwing darts and, out-dueled Purdy and won the game. And that just kept going. And it's really hard to assess, how I feel about him now, because for 16 weeks of last season, it was like, oh my God, maybe Kyle was right. I'm not saying he's Steve Young, but like this guy's unbelievably, playing at a really high level. And then, those last 2 weeks were jolting. One of them I covered, that playoff game in Arizona. That was kind of a complete team debacle. But, so the question is he going to be better than he was last season? The real question is he going to be better than he was week 18 and in the playoffs? And the answer is, let's pray.
Yeah, Mike, you mentioned, and you got Sam to speak on those final 2 games of the 2024 season. He was very candid about his performance against the Lions and against the Rams. And we're often told, don't fall victim to a small sample size. It's just 2 games last year, but it was also 2 games that meant the most to the Vikings season. So what do we, or how big of an impact do you think those 2 games had on the market for Darnold, maybe the Vikings' decision to move on from him, and also kind of where he landed in Seattle? Because to me, it kind of felt like, wow, the league really turned on him quickly after those 2 performances.
Yeah, and, probably because of those 2 performances and because of what had preceded last season, where, everybody with the Jets and the Panthers and all of that. But, I do think it affected it. If you would have asked me in late December last year, what are the Vikings going to do with Darnold? I would have been like, well, they're at least going to franchise him and then figure it out. Maybe pay him, maybe trade him, maybe, trade McCarthy, something. But it ended, and then all of a sudden Kevin O'Connell was like, he's earned the right to test the market. And I'm like, well, most NFL coaches and GMs would not use that terminology when it comes to their right to employ the franchise tag. They'd be like, we've earned the right to control him. But and that is a reflection, and Kevin O'Connell really, cares about Sam Darnold. And I know in his conversations with John Schneider, he was very, very upbeat about Sam and excited that Sam could get to a good place. But, it's kind of wrapped up in the fact that they drafted McCarthy so high. That's a franchise that has been looking for a homegrown franchise quarterback for so long. They liked McCarthy early, then the season was a washout. They're kind of built to win now. So it was kind of a weird thing. I believe the Vikings ultimately decided, we think we can keep Daniel Jones as a hedge, and maybe he'll be this year's Darnold if JJ isn't ready or isn't good enough. And that didn't work out for them, not Seahawks fans' problem. So, but they did not franchise him and control it. It sounds like they only offered him really a one-year deal, which he wasn't taking. Conventional wisdom was that the Raiders would come hard, and, we all know what happened. And, I've been told specifically Tom Brady was not into that. And whether Tom admits it or not, he's a pretty strong voice in that building, especially when it comes to quarterbacks. And then, the Pete Geno, connection and all that. But I do think if you're the Seahawks, you go, look, we have a guy who's potentially ascending, who is 26, and we're paying him appreciably less than what Geno wanted in Seattle, at least, and we got a 3. So I think if you do all that math and you go, we're probably not winning the Super Bowl this year anyway, that's probably a deal you take on paper. But, if Geno goes and lights it up in Vegas and Sam struggles, then none of what I just said will matter.
See, Michael, I love you dropping in. Oh, I was told that Tom Brady, because this is one of my favorite things about having really well-connected, well-respected reporters on, is you guys have all the tea. You got all these nuggets that you drop into your columns, and that was one of the ones that I had starred. So I have 2 questions for you, neither of them specifically about Sam, one kind of related. Why do you think that Brady didn't want to sign Darnold? And also, from another part of your column, how serious was the Seahawks' interest in Aaron Rodgers?
I don't know on Brady. I've known Brady for so long, and it would surprise me if he didn't have really strong opinions about every single quarterback. And, I kind of would defer to Tom. I'd love to have a conversation with him about it. I'm working on that. But, I would defer to Tom in that, I don't think we should go get that guy. But I also would say this about Tom. He kind of had like Ben Johnson, and then wait, what's plan B? And then it was like, we'll get Matthew Stafford. Wait, what was plan B again? So like, it's great to have plan A when you're coming in and trying to run a franchise, but like, as veterans like John Schneider would tell you, you kind of need to have plan A, B, C, D, E, and assess the ball against each other. And I think Tom was more like, well, of course I'll get my plan A. Like, I'll run into Matthew Stafford skiing accidentally on purpose, and or maybe accidentally, and I'll sell him, and then I'll sell Ben Johnson when I'm, in my Fox outfit on the field before the game, and it'll all be cool. But yeah, I don't know the answer to that. As far as Rodgers, more serious than I realized before I came up there a couple weeks ago. But, John Schneider said, yeah, no, that was a very, they were looking at Drew Lock and kind of wanted him back and thought of him as a potential starter. They thought about Darnold for sure. And Rodgers was the other scenario. And I think the combination of the certainty of being able to get Darnold and Drew Lock right away ultimately won out. Now, if Rodgers had gotten on the phone with John, or his agent had, and been like, look, Aaron Rodgers is gung-ho, wants Seahawks. That's what he wants. He's into it. Let's get this done. that might have been the way they went. But I think, the Seahawks just felt this might drag on a while. We're not sure if he's sure what he wants, and we're going to take the two in the hand.
Mike, Clint Kubiak comes from the Shanahan coaching tree, which you're an expert on. Heck, you wrote the book on it. And so,
I did.
Yeah. So how much pressure is on Kubiak here in Seattle to unlock or to keep, I guess, going what Sam Darnold had going in Minnesota?
Well, first of all, thank you for mentioning the Why Is Everything, a story of football, rivalry, and revolution. Father's Day just passed, but still, it's available everywhere.
Never too late.
There you go. Never too late. Is it too late to plug my Kurt Warner book from 2000 that got made into American Underdog 21 years later? Never too late.
Never too late.
So anyway, thank you for plugging the Why Is Everything. I'm glad you mentioned Clint, because he was obviously part of that staff that I alluded to in 2023. And so I presumably shared a lot of those opinions, and also kind of saw Sam get rebuilt confidence-wise, mechanics-wise, scheme-wise, all that. So, that's probably one of the bigger reasons if you're making that decision. You've got a newly hired coordinator who is saying to you, yeah, I know him. We can do this together. This will be cool. And, Darnold is almost universally liked by ex-teammates wherever he's been. And so, it doesn't surprise me that Clint would have a good feeling about bringing him into that locker room. And of course, some would argue that, offensive coordinator position for Mike McDonald is under as much scrutiny right now as quarterback in year two. So together they may have a chance to do some really cool things.
John Schneider, you spoke to him as well, and he said that he does see Sam as ascending. And then he said, well, hey, we had this experience with Geno, and that tells us that. So then I naturally went to comparing the two quarterbacks and thinking of the ways that Geno was kind of able to succeed, and then wondering about Sam and whether he could do the same. And I kept coming back to the offensive line. And I know that he had a great play caller in Minnesota, obviously, and great receiving weapons and a great tight end and everything. But I just keep coming back to, it's really going to come down to that, because the one lingering fear or question that I have, Michael, is that Geno might have just been better able with his own skills as quarterbacks to overcome a bad offensive line in ways that maybe Sam can't. Am I wrong there? Is that kind of how you see it?
I don't know. I mean, Sam's skills are pretty high up. As a thrower of the football, it's super elite. I know Geno's a really good thrower too. He might be a little more mobile than Geno. I mean, probably at 26, he's more mobile than Geno at 34, right? So, what was the great Geno quote after the night game?
I didn't write back.
I ain't right back. I don't know if we'll get a moment like that, but I think you're right. John brought that up. We've seen it with Geno. We've seen a guy come here and ascend. Now, different coaching staff, obviously, but and I think you're right to look at the offensive line for sure, because you look at the offensive line and you look at weapons. Offensive line wasn't able to protect him in that playoff game against the Rams, and he took, I think, 93 sacks, if I remember. Jared Verse was basically familiar with his mouthwash and all that. And so, that's not great. Now, what he said to me, he said, he talked about the way that the Lions in that last game and the Rams defended him. He talked about on third downs, man to man with a robber. So right now, you guys might have to explain to me some of that, because I'm not, I've been around football for a long time, but I am no schematic wizard. But the upshot was that if they take away all your options and they're not spying you, instead of just saying, well, I'm going to pick the least bad option, there are plenty of chances to run where you could maybe hurt him. And he does have them. So he seemed to be inclined to maybe do that in those situations when the opportunity presents itself. So, I don't know. I just know that, I know some people at the Raiders, and this is before they drafted the running back up high, and they drafted at least a receiver, right? But at the time, their number one receiver was Jacoby Myers, who a lot of teams I think would think of as a nice piece, but maybe like your 3 or, your 2. And they did have Brock Bowers, who was coming off that great rookie year, but they didn't really have a top level running back, and they didn't have other receivers that were scaring anyone. And people I was talking to at the Raiders were like, yeah, Geno without weapons, I'm not so sure how great that will be. Now he does have more weapons now, but so then you look at Sam and you go, obviously JSN, has proven he's a legit weapon. They went out and got Cooper Kupp. If Cooper Kupp is healthy, that's a beautiful thing to have. And so, you hope the running backs stay healthy and there's a running game. But yeah, that offensive line will be a big part of it.
Yeah. Cooper's looked really good at camp, so there's that. Michael Silver's latest is available at New York Times, nytimes.com, on your Athletic app. Go check it out. Great quotes in there. Speaking of Cooper, from Cooper Kupp, from John Schneider, of course, from Sam Darnold. Thanks, Michael.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, you guys. I'll hopefully see you on a beautiful late summer or autumn day.
We'd love that. Take care.
Thank you.
Let's get to 4 Down territory.
This is 4 Down territory, going inside the game with former Seahawks and Coug wide receiver Michael Bumpus.
Stacy, first down to you. What 2 nuggets stood out to you in Michael Silver's column in The Athletic?
The 2 that I asked him about, one of which he was like, I don't know if I can give you an answer, and the other he had a little more insight. It was that Tom Brady did not want Sam Darnold, and that the Seahawks were seriously considering signing Aaron Rodgers. I just found both to be interesting nuggets.
Juicy.
And it's not meant to be a huge slight on Darnold that the Seahawks were entertaining Rodgers or that Brady didn't want Darnold. Again, we asked Mike, hey, why do you think? He was like, I'm not going to speak for Tom. I have my own opinions, and Curtis, you and I talked about them a little bit at 1045, which was, I think that Geno is a little more similar as a passer in profile to Brady than is Sam Darnold. And I think that if I was a quarterback, I would feel most comfortable with like a veteran who you can say what you will about Geno's red zone interceptions, and it's worth noting, but who is otherwise a very accurate quarterback, a little more similar to, he's got an arm. Like, he'll throw downfield, don't get me wrong, but I can see why Brady looked at a veteran and looked at that relationship that he had with Carroll and thought, I'll take that guy that still threw, for 4,000 yards in 2022, right, behind a bad offensive line, than I will a guy who I think might struggle under pressure. Now, that's just me guessing what Tom Brady would be thinking. Tom Brady knows more about football than I do, which not a lot of people realize. So he's got a lot more insight and maybe completely different reasons, but I guess that's just what made sense to me.
Second down. Stacy, what's the gamble John Schneider really made with the Geno Smith trade?
So I know that the gamble feels like Sam Darnold will be better than Geno. I think what the gamble really is that Seattle can get its run game going. That's the gamble. That's the bet that I think John Schneider is actually making. Yes, part of it is betting that Geno Smith isn't going to be worth that money in 2026, because we all know that part of what Geno didn't love about the Seahawks deal, reportedly, allegedly, is that while the yearly salary was roughly the same as to what Seattle gave Sam Darnold, with a little bit of a difference, it's that the Hawks had to clear out after 2025, wherein the Raiders were more financially committed through 2026. So Geno was basically given a promise that, like, you're our guy this year, and we really, really want you to be our guy next year too. Whereas with the Seahawks, it was basically like, this could be a one-year deal, and then we could move on. And that could be really insulting to a guy that feels like he's given you a lot. And so, yes, that is part of the gamble. Ultimately, though, it's, we can make this run game better, and that the risk that I will be taking at quarterback will be worth it, because I won't need to depend on this quarterback carrying the offense. I can count on me, a GM, creating a more complete team.
Third down. Stacy, what rookie will you be watching this year for bragging purposes only?
Listen to me, okay? I am shockingly not braggadocious. And I think a lot of people in sports love tooting their own horn. And I kind of get it, because you are constantly ripped apart for things you get wrong. So when you get things right, you want to say it, even if they're really obvious things. And I've always felt really awkward doing it, because I'm like, well, that was a really predictable opinion that I had, so it doesn't matter if it was right. But people do it, so I'm going to do it with this. Now listen to me. I was on Cigar Thoughts with Jackson Bevins. He has a great podcast ahead of the 23 draft, and the Seahawks weren't on the board yet, and I was like, Jared Verse is still there. I really, really like Jared Verse. Well, it's not a wildly unique opinion, but he ended up being pretty solid with the Rams, Defensive Rookie of the Year in 2024. For our own pre-draft video this year, we were asked, what move do you think the Seahawks will make, and what move do you hope they make? I said, I think the Seahawks will trade back and take an offensive lineman like Gray Zabel. They ended up taking Gray Zabel. They didn't need to trade back. I said, I hope that they just do something crazy and draft Colston Loveland or something. Now listen to me. Colston Loveland ended up being the 10th overall pick, first tight end off the board. It wasn't Warren after all. If he succeeds, like if he has a phenomenal year, you better believe I'm going to be scrolling through those comments of people saying I know nothing about football, what a horrible pick, going, it was supposed to be a fun pick, and I thought Colston could be a fun player. If he fails, I will never mention this again. I will never. I'll be like, I knew he'd be bad.
If he's an all-pro, see?
Oh, exactly. Yeah.
I think your greatest scoreboard pointing was you and Mark Schlereth over the Russell Wilson trade.
Oh, can I just go back to
he got
in time?
Mad.
No, listen. Can I also go back in time for 30 seconds? That entire Denver station, which is our sister station, so I'm trying to be careful about how I frame it, they completely butchered a quote that I said about Russell Wilson. I said, he's not the most personable guy. I was in the locker room as a reporter in 2014, 15, 16, basically every year since Super Bowl 49. And I interviewed players who were like, they had respect for Russ as a player, but that wasn't wrong. That was factually correct. That was my experience covering that team. And obviously I don't do it in depth anymore. I'm not a beat reporter anymore at all. But like, that's just true. Everyone knows that. And they turned it into me saying he was a bad teammate. And I got comments on my personal Instagram account from Denver Broncos fans who were saying I was a hater and like obsessed with Russ. So when it was time for me to do my little lap 2 years later, I sure did. I put on those walking shoes and I took a stroll.
Fourth down. So we know the 3 quarterbacks that will be featured on Netflix's quarterback show, which will debut on July 8th. Kirk Cousins, Jared Goff, and Joe Burrow. Who would you want the 4th to be?
I was torn, but hear me out. Both are great choices. Caleb Williams for the drama of what happened with Nagy and everything. Or Jaden Daniels, just to see that season unfold.
Would Jaden Daniels' mom have given him enough space to be in that show?
She'd be in every
She's
shot.
She's a helicopter parent.
Yeah, absolutely. I think probably a lot of athletes' parents are. Yeah.
He's like 24, 25 years old.
You got to let him meet people.
Yeah.
You
He's
can't.
24 years old, 25 years old.
He's an adult. Now, who am I to tell someone how to parent? But he's an adult.
Yeah.
And I get the feeling of like, oh, I want to shield him from people that don't have his best interest. But you have to let him decide how to decipher that too. Because that's always going to be, if he ends up being everything we think he will be, he's always going to have to decipher between those people. I just think either of those guys would have been so fun for this show. Timeline coming your way next.
Wyman and Bob, afternoons 2 to 7.
The one, the only Tim Kirkchin is with us. How are you, sir?
Well, I'm just as confused as you are about the Mariners, if they're going to get really good or not.
Is it hard to understand where their needs truly are as we approach that trade deadline?
This team is due for a great stretch of great starting pitching. If they can score a few runs, maybe they can really make a playoff berth in the American League.
Dave Wyman and Bob Stelton, afternoons 2 to 7 on Seattle Sports, the app, YouTube, and your smart speaker.
If you want that summer body you've always dreamed of, then this message is for you, ladies, and you men too. Get rid of extra stubborn fat and address areas of loose skin around the waistline, chin, and under the upper arms with ProSculpt, the new one-day instant permanent fat removal and skin tightening treatment. Maybe you've tried the lasers, fat freezing methods, even those new pills, but without the desired results. ProSculpt is different. It's minimally invasive, performed while fully awake, gentle, yet powerful. Designed to target the waistline, chin, neck, arms, and thighs, ProSculpt uses FDA-cleared plasma technology to deliver immediate, permanent fat-reducing and skin-tightening results, all in just one visit. If you want that summer body this summer, then you must act now. Go to ProSculpt.com today to schedule your free consultation. Get $250 off. For instant, permanent fat reduction and skin tightening, visit ProSculpt.com Autoscope.com.
Washington is leading the way in car theft reduction. Car thefts dropped by 32% from 2023 to 2024 in our state, but there's still work to be done. Help keep your car safe with these simple and important tips. Don't leave your car running unattended. Park in well-lit areas. Lock up every time. Keep valuables out of sight. Use an anti-theft device like a steering wheel lock. Prevent the theft and keep you and your vehicle safe. These tips are brought to you by the Washington Auto Theft Prevention Authority.
Hey, get in.
What? Who are you?
I'm future you. Constipation with belly pain still coming back?
Yeah.
Mia, our doctor figured it out. She said it's irritable bowel syndrome with constipation, or IBS-C, and Linzess could help you get ahead of it.
Linzess linaclotide is a prescription medicine that treats IBS-C in adults. It's not a laxative. It's a once-daily pill that helps you get ahead of your symptoms. It's proven to help you have more frequent and complete bowel movements and helps relieve overall abdominal symptoms, belly pain, discomfort, and bloating. These symptoms were studied in combination, not individually. Do not give Linzess to children less than 2. It may harm them. Do not take Linzess if you have a bowel blockage. Get immediate help if you develop unusual or severe stomach pain, especially with bloody or black stools. The most common side effect is diarrhea, sometimes severe. If it's severe, stop taking Linzess and call your doctor right away. Other side effects include gas, stomach area pain, and swelling. Talk to your doctor and say yes to Linzess. Learn more at linzess.com or call 1-800-LINZESS.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Jane has 150,000 miles on her truck, and she's proud of that. Jane's secret? AutoZone, where friendly AutoZoners help her find the right parts. Jane's brother Josh only cares that his car starts and goes, but when it doesn't, he also goes to AutoZone, where friendly AutoZoners help with free services. No hassles, just help. Everything you need, nothing you don't.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Tired of hearing scary radio ads about the IRS? Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000 or $500,000, we have a solution. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS with zero risk to you. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with a BBB. End your tax nightmare today by visiting TRA.com or call 800-583-6681. That's 800-583-6681.
The home of the Mariners.
Left off to center. It is on its way. Julio, 2-run home run.
Hear every pitch on 710 and the Seattle Sports app.
If you've ever wondered if there's something after death, Tyler Henry proves the answer is yes. Be part of his live audience readings and his jaw-dropping ability to connect with the departed at Muckleshoot Event Center, Thursday, July 10th and Friday, July 11th at 8 p.m. Experience this evening of hope and healing, bringing peace and closure to loved ones. Tyler Henry proves our loved ones never leave us. Get tickets at muckleshootcasino.com.
Muckleshoot. Summer is here, and now's the time to break through those weight loss frustrations. Hey, it's Dr. Coogan with Eastside Weight Loss Clinic, and we have a proven system that can help you lose weight and get healthy. No drugs, no side effects, no calorie counting, no exercise. Just teaching you the simple steps to become a fat-burning machine and keep it off long term. Remove the stress of trying to do this on your own and picture being down 20 to 30 pounds in just 60 days with our help. At Eastside Weight Loss Clinic, we know the secret for fast and lasting weight loss using real healthy foods and lifestyle changes. Schedule your free consultation online at eastsideweightlossclinic.com.
Yeah, look your best this summer. Even with a busy schedule and vacation, the Eastside Weight Loss Clinic plan isn't going to cause much disruption. Don't wait or put it off because you're busy. Lose weight during this summer and watch that transformation really happen for you.
Join the thousands of people who've lost 20 to 30 pounds or more in just 60 days. You can do our program in person in Kirkland or all remotely. Schedule your free phone consultation online at eastsideweightlossclinic.com.
Dr. Ryan Coogan, D.C. Results may vary.
Roof now, pay later. No payments until 2027. 0 down, 0 payments, and 0 interest for up to 24 months. Hi, Justin Shirley, CEO of State Roofing and Exteriors here. Since 1968, we've helped homeowners just like you get beautiful, durable roofs without breaking the bank. Book today and lock in summer pricing before it's too late. Call 866-ROOF-ROOF or visit stateroofing.com to schedule your free estimate. State Roofing and Exteriors, held to a higher standard since 1968.
This is The Timeline
with Bump and Stacy.
Brought to you by 1-800-DUI-AWAY.
It is the timeline on Bump and Stacy. Curtis Rogers in for Michael Bumps today. Say hi, Curtis.
Hey, how's it going?
First up, the NBA Finals were the only championship with a deflating ending on Sunday. In the deciding game, a lot of you guys know where I'm going because you saw this happen. In a deciding game, the deciding game of the College World Series, Coastal Carolina head coach Kevin Schneider and Coastal Carolina's first base coach were ejected in the first inning.
Oh my goodness, he just threw Kevin Schneider out of the game. Wow. In the bottom of the first inning, the home plate umpire throws Kevin Schneider out of this game, and down goes an umpire who had come in to get in the middle of things. I believe, guys, this had to do what happened at the end of the top of the first with the third base coach for LSU. This seemed to stem from the first base coach. And then Schneider remarkably gets thrown out of the game. A College World Series game 2 in the bottom of the first.
So, Curtis, there's a lot to this story.
Yes.
We have more sound. There are not twists and turns, but some different conflicting accounts of what exactly happened. We'll start with the video because we're a radio audio format. We'll start with just what you saw in the video. When the video went viral and was making the rounds on X, when you looked at it and when many other people looked at it, they were like, why is he being ejected?
Yeah, Schnall holds up 3 fingers to the umpire saying, you missed 3 calls. And I get that you cannot, under any circumstance, argue balls and strikes or else you are going to get rung like he did in that game. But it's also the first inning of a deciding game. Now, had Coastal Carolina won that game, they would not have won the championship. They would have forced a Game 3, which would have been played today. Instead, LSU wins the championship series in a 2-0 sweep. But after Schnall and their first base coach get ejected, the thing about college baseball coaching staffs, they are very small. It is not like a major league coaching staff where you have a bench coach, where you have base coaches, a pitching coach, all sorts of support staff. No, it is usually a head coach, a pitching coach, a base coach, and like maybe one other person. There's usually like 4 or 5 coaches in the dugout. So after Schnall gets ejected and their first base coach get ejected, it's basically up to the pitching coach now, who is the manager. And then who else is out there? Like, there's nobody else. So they had to go and get their recruiting coordinator. True story. He happened to be in the dugout, and then he is your first base coach.
So I saw one report that said that Schnall was either in the previous game or earlier given a warning.
Yes.
Okay, so this is him.
Yeah.
This is him. So who knows if it's true, but I saw that he was given a warning. Maybe he was swearing or saying like that's a blanking joke, whatever. He did something that caused a warning of some kind. So that this was actually in the mind of the home plate ump, the second strike, and kind of like, I've already warned you and now you're gone. However, I think most baseball fans, and that includes analysts, Jeff Passan was tweeting about this.
Right.
Jeff saying, and I'm summarizing or paraphrasing, there are some combinations of words and things that can get you rightfully thrown from a game, but hey, you missed 3 is not one of them.
No. And Schnall had the explanation of it and basically was like, yeah, I mean, I'll take responsibility for it, but I don't agree with it.
Here's what he said.
There's 25,000 people there, and I vaguely hear a warning issued. As the head coach, I was an assistant for 24 years, and as an assistant, you're almost treated like a second-level citizen, and you can't say a word. Now, as a head coach, I think it is your right to get an explanation of why we got warned. And I'm 48 years old. I shouldn't get shooed by another grown man, right? So when I come out to ask what the warning is, a grown man shooed me. So at that point, I can now hear him say, it was a warning issued for arguing balls and strikes. And at that point, I said, because you missed 3. At that point, ejected. If that warrants an ejection, I'm the first one to stand here like a man and apologize.
Yo, I'd be livid.
Yeah.
Livid. And his account sounds like the warning came very shortly before he was actually ejected.
Yeah, they didn't give him any sort of
So he's just
time.
retorting. He's saying, well, yeah, I did that because of this. the response from the home plate ump needs to be, okay, well, you can't do that. And if you do it again, if I see you leave that dugout and come towards me again.
Back to the dugout.
Yeah.
Skip. Another thing in this whole thing is when Schnall comes out of the dugout and like finishes off his argument after he's been ejected, the first base umpire trips over one of the other umpires.
His own feet.
Yeah, and thinks that he has been pushed over by Schnall or another member of Coastal Carolina's coaching staff.
He's not touched.
No, and then he, which apparently is something you can do at the collegiate level, issue an automatic 2-game suspension on top of the ejection, because you can see the umpire hold up 2 fingers, and that means a 2-game suspension, which would have cost Schnall the elimination game on Monday had Coastal won on Sunday. That is
If you guys
insanity.
haven't seen that video, it's the first base, or what was it, the sideline? Or who
I think it was the first base umpire.
First base umpire who... He's standing next to the home plate umpire, and
he's trying to get in there to like separate the two.
And his right foot kind of gets looped around the home plate ump, and he falls backward and does what looks like a flop. It's like a whole somersault backwards. He is not touched at all by one of the coaches.
Right.
I would be able to tell if I was being shoved. Anyways, this is Schnall.
If you guys watch the video, there was a guy that came in extremely aggressively, tripped over Campos's foot, embarrassed in front of 25,000, immediately goes 2-game suspension and said, bumping the umpire. Immediately does that. There was no bump. He was embarrassed. I shouldn't be held accountable for a grown man's athleticism.
Just calling him unathletic, clumsy. He's right. I mean, that was not his fault at all. It was just, it was everything that people don't like about baseball umpires all crammed into one. It was an ump show yesterday when it should have been about these two great teams, Coastal Carolina winning 26 straight games coming into the final series, LSU being the juggernaut program that they are. Like it was setting up to be an all-time, series, and then yesterday just the entire wind sucked out of it.
The 206 retorts, you miss 3 is absolutely ejectable. Further, leaving your position to argue balls and strikes is an automatic ejection.
It is. I'm just saying in a championship round with what was at stake yesterday, I think you should have a longer leash as an umpire. I don't think you should be looking to eject somebody in the first inning of the game.
And that's not a unique opinion. I mean, think about the way we talk about reffing in an NFL playoff game with the idea of, like, if you're getting really ticky-tacky in weird moments, it feels unnecessary. Like, you do, whether we all admit to it or not, it's an unspoken thing that you do ref or umpire, officiate playoff games, especially elimination games, a bit differently.
Mm-hmm.
And there's an umpire that's like, nah, I would have thrown that guy, which, like, I totally get, but that's how I feel. That's how I've always watched sports.
Is this the best umpire crew that the NCAA could have come up with for this game? Like, from what I read, it sounded like the home plate umpire was a former Major League umpire that just couldn't hack it at that level.
Well, and it sounds like the first base needs to work on figuring out how to not trip over his own shoes.
Himself. Yeah.
All right, let's get to our last story here quickly, just because we had a fun highlight like it was predetermined. Rafi Devers' first home run with the Giants came, of course, against the Red Sox.
It's went high and deep to left and out of here. I don't care what Rafi Devers says after the game. That meant a lot.
Yeah, it did. I'm sure it did.
You always want to get back at the team that you had such a big issue with. Yeah, that had to have felt amazing for him.
I know. Let's get back to the team we cover here in Seattle with the Mariners. It's coming your way next.
Breaker, this is the Big Rig Mariner. Mercy sakes, we got the Big Dumper unloading all over
big league pitching. Over.
To the one-he track to the wall, and it's gone, and he does it. Number 30 the other way here at Wrigley Field, Cal Raleigh.
He's baseball's breakout player in 2025, making his case for American League MVP. And this is where you follow along the Big Dumpers Big Run. Seattle Sports on 710 and the Seattle Sports app.
Dave Wyman here for Harley Exteriors, a local company serving all of Western Washington for 23 years. Olympic Series windows are offered exclusively by Harley Exteriors, manufactured right here in Washington, specifically designed for our Pacific Northwest homes and climate. This is the window you want. It looks absolutely stunning, much better than a traditional vinyl window, and these windows last up to 60 years. They're going to lower your energy bills and provide year-round comfort. They come with a double lifetime, fully transferable warranty, meaning not only are you covered for glass breaking or damaged seals, it's going to help your resale and home value. Very affordable with options like 0 payments and 0 interest up to 12 months for qualified buyers. And this June, buy 3 windows and get 1 free, plus an additional $200 off your entire project. Think Harley Exteriors for windows, doors, and more in the Puget Sound. Call 8-333-HARLEY or go to harleyexteriors.com.
As a fan, you know all the important sports cliches. And when you save money by bundling your home and auto with Progressive, you can get out there and give it 110%, even though that's mathematically impossible. And remember, failure is not an option. Well, it's always an option, just not a good one. But you're not worried because you've got ice in your veins. You're on fire. How can both of those things be true at the same time? Well, that's between you and your doctor. So get out there and leave it all on the field. Leave what? Who cares? Just leave it and save with a bundle from Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
Get in the zone, AutoZone. Jane has 150,000 miles on her truck, and she's proud of that. Jane's secret? AutoZone, where friendly AutoZoners help her find the right parts. Jane's brother Josh only cares that his car starts and goes, but when it doesn't, he also goes to AutoZone, where friendly AutoZoners help with free services. No hassles, just help. Everything you need, nothing you don't. Get in the zone, AutoZone. Restrictions apply.
What's the biggest mistake you can make when selling your home? Settling for less money. That never happens with Orchard. Disappointing offers can wear you down, causing you to settle for thousands less. You don't have to settle when you sell with Orchard. Orchard reinvented the real estate industry by guaranteeing your home sale and helping you sell on the market for top dollar. First, Orchard gives you cash up front so you can buy and move into your new home first, on your timeline. No waiting, no showings, no double moves. Then once you're all settled in, your Orchard agent helps sell your home on market for top dollar. Here's what one Orchard customer said. I never could have sold without Orchard. I made way more than I expected, and it couldn't have been easier. With Orchard, you never have to settle for less. Buy before you sell and get top dollar for your home with Orchard. Curious how much your home is worth? Visit Orchard.com to get your free home valuation. That's Orchard.com. Orchard.com.
Meridian Glass supports all uniformed personnel and healthcare providers working hard to keep us safe. These heroic men and women spend long hours away from home, protecting our freedom and providing critical medical care. Please thank them for their many sacrifices and putting their lives on the line for us every day. Happy 4th of July to you and yours from the entire team at Meridian Glass, the family-owned professional glass experts in Puyallup since 1976. Online at meridianglass.com.
The home of the Mariners.
One hopper snared at short. On a quick hop by J.P. Crawford.
That guy's a magician over there at shortstop.
Seattle Sports.
Download the Seattle Sports app.
Values have to be within your leadership staff, right? And then that filters down into the rest of your staff.
We are together, we are a team, and without that thought process, you're sunk.
I still revert back to, if I work at a location and I'm willing to have my son work at this location, that should tell you a great deal. I didn't steer my son away, I steered my son to it.
They call it the Lee Johnson Auto family, and it's not just a name, it's not just some cliche. They foster an environment for us to become a family.
As much as I love to think that they trust me, yeah, our family name is trusted, but it's because of those individual interactions with our people that those folks have had over the years. That's where they build their trust with the relationship.
The LJ Way is the Lee Johnson Auto family.
It is that time of year. I cannot wait for the weather to get warm like it is now on consecutive days. That means I can break the motorcycle out, ride to work, ride all over the place, and I love it more than just about anything. But I also know that it's not a matter of if, but when you get in an accident, what are you going to do? Well, I'll tell you, when you're injured in a motorcycle crash, don't settle for firms that say they're motorcycle lawyers. Trust the ones who live it. Law Tigers has been a part of the writing community for nearly 25 years nationwide. They're here 24/7, 365 days a year because writers deserve real support when they need it. Law Tigers is the resource writers can turn to when they are in need. Law Tigers is out at all the events and supporting all clubs and shops. The Law Tigers are always by your side. Your case evaluation is always free. There are no fees until your case settles. The Law Tigers, you never ride alone. Law Tigers, Washington's motorcycle lawyers. Jimmy Cook, 539 Broadway, Unit 104, Tacoma, Washington, 98402.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio, you're listening to Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
All right, let's see. Still to come in the show at 1, USA Today's Bob Nightengale is going to join us to talk about a little Mariners nugget from his Sunday column in USA Today. We're going to talk about whether or not we think the Mariners should be aggressive at the deadline, or rather how bold do we think they could be at the deadline, coming up at 12:45. Before we get to it, we've got a plea for Mariners brass, to the Mariners front office. Look, I don't think they want to do this, so maybe it's redundant for me to say it, but please don't waste Cal's historic season.
For real.
I beg of you. Now, again, I guarantee you if we had Justin Hollander in here and he was sitting right next to you, he'd say, yeah, we don't plan on doing that. Like, that's not something we want to do or plan to do. So I can promise you that that's what they would say. However, there is, and I would be honest with Justin about this, a fear that you develop, Curtis. You and I are both local. There's a fear that you develop that burns inside of you like a flame that keeps getting stronger.
We got a lot of scar tissue.
A lot of scar tissue built up. Without the memories of like 95 or, so it's just Mariners fans that are like under 40 that are like, yeah, I've mostly known.
Like they kind of like, I see how the story ends. I've seen how it ends.
And I should say that Mariners fans over 40 don't have much to be excited about either. They've been in pain for much longer, but there is naturally in me, I have found a fear developing of wasting something. I watched this team waste Felix. I saw them last year waste the best starting rotation in baseball. And it's not just the front office. Players didn't perform up to par last year, too. You had injuries. You had bad luck. A lot goes into it. I'm not naive to that. But I have a hard time, and I don't know if anyone else feels this way, feeling as excited as I possibly could about what we're seeing from Cal without feeling a sense of dread.
It is kind of looming where it's like, this is all so much fun watching Cal hit a home run every single night and watch him be a legitimate threat to Aaron Judge and his MVP candidacy. And the All-Star ballot, the second round of All-Star balloting results were unveiled today. Cal Raleigh still in second place among American League players with nearly 2 million votes. By far, more than 1 million votes ahead of second place in terms of catcher in the American League. Like, he is a super duper star across Major League Baseball, and obviously his 31 home runs speak to that. But you're right. Like, this team has not done a good job historically of capitalizing on these fantastic seasons that we've seen guys have. You know how many games the Mariners lost the year that Ichiro set the single season not the single season home run record, but the single season hit record?
How many?
It was 99 games. They lost 99 games the year the Mariners had a guy hit 262 hits as their leadoff hitter. They nearly lost 100 games in the season. Ichiro hit 372 with 262 hits.
Now, this Mariners team, coming off a series win and above 500,
they're not on pace to lose 100 games.
They're not on pace to lose 100 games. But to your point, we know that sometimes a player can do something extraordinary and the team can still fail.
Truly, yeah. And I just don't want us to kind of talk about Mariners history in ways of like, remember Cal Raleigh's 2025 season. I want us to talk about looking back in Mariners history, what about that Mariners 2025 season?
Yeah.
Like, this season shouldn't just belong to Cal Raleigh. It should be the entire effort of this ball club.
So let's ask ourselves a question that the front office is going to have to ask themselves. Well, how do we make the most of it? How do we make this team as competitive as possible with limited sellers? A lot to work with in terms of prospects. Will people be biting when it comes to dealing prospects? I don't know. What kind of move would you like to see them make? Like, how do they avoid that? For me, it's adding to the offense and I think the bullpen. So at least 2 moves.
Yeah.
And I don't anticipate that there's a bat out there that's going to come in and mash. Like, you're going to have to continue to look to Cal, look to Julio to get hot in July, whatever it is. But to get in someone that can hit for contact, move runners along would be massive.
I think you've got to put yourself in the market for whatever is going to be the best bat available for the second straight year. I mean, it was Randy Arozarena last year, which the Mariners ended up getting, which credit to them for being able to relinquish the prospects that it took to get Randy Arozarena, and it turned out to be a prospect package that probably was not going to be to the level that a lot of us thought it was going to take to get him here. But I think it was Jason Churchill last week, who said, like, the Mariners need to make a trade that makes them feel uncomfortable kind of with what they're giving up, because a lot of times you look and see what some of these trade packages are around the trade deadline time. It's like, okay, you gave up like your 12th best prospect, you gave up your 20th best prospect, and this kid that's like 17 years old in the Dominican, like, you're not going to hear from that guy in 5 or 6 years from now. But when you have such a highly rated farm system, when you have 9 or 10 guys in the top 100 prospects, like, you have pieces that are going to be highly sought after. Here's what Churchill had to say about making uncomfortable trades.
That's my one, complaint about the front office. I know they've been under ridiculous restrictions, last-second changes to plans heading into off seasons. I've defended the front office a little bit. Not that they haven't made mistakes, but that's the one thing. I think there has been a little bit of prospect hoarding because they didn't like the price. Well, sometimes to win at the major league level, it's got to hurt. It's got to hurt your farm system. You got to be like, dang, I didn't really. When they traded Noelvi Marte and Edwin Arroyo, and they made those deals with the Reds for Castillo and Winker and Suarez, it hurt a little bit. But you got Luis Castillo, and he's been really good for you, and he was a big reason why you broke the drought a couple of years ago. So it's just going to hurt.
And the best trade this front office has made, at least in my mind, is the Luis Castillo trade, because you got back a top-of-the-rotation arm. Yes, you gave up at the time, I think he was your best prospect, Noelvi Marte. If he wasn't the best, then he was in the top 2 or 3. And yet here you are, 3 years later, 4 years later, Luis Castillo's still at the top of your rotation, and nobody in that trade has done anything of significance for Cincinnati.
Well, and you're never, whatever trade they end up making, if they're fortunate enough to pull one off, if it's that kind of uncomfortable trade, there's never like this clear, wow, they got fleeced winner.
Yeah.
With really good trades, it's the Mariners need to help themselves now at the expense of talent down the road. That's a tough decision to make. You are giving something up. It's not just the idea of prospects. It's you're giving up security down the road. This is also a team, and I go back to that sound from Jordan Schusterman on With Us, who said you can't afford to wait to win.
Right.
Like, you have been building. You have been keeping an eye on the future. You have been with your foot hovering over the gas pedal going 35 in a 35. Like, right now, you need to floor it. You cannot.
Right.
You cannot, this organization especially, afford to go, let's just keep building. To what? To what? Genuinely.
Because you're not going to get a season like this from Cal Raleigh maybe ever again.
No. And that's no disrespect to Cal. This is historic.
Right. This is something that no one has ever seen.
No other catcher in baseball has done this, at least to this point in the season, I should say. So you think that you're just going to replicate this? It's the same way you look at the rotation last year. So you think all 5 of these guys are going to stay healthy and be great next year? You're counting on that? Don't do it. Don't
here
count
we
on
are.
it.
You've had 3 guys spend multiple weeks on the
Exactly.
IL.
So why would you not make that gamble? Why would you not do everything you can to win this year? Why not?
Let's see it.
I cannot think of an answer for the life of me. We'll see what they do. It'll be really fun to continue to watch this game. I loved watching this series. I know we can't expect that kind of offensive explosion when they had to face Minnesota, but it is fun to talk about this team when they're winning. It really is, because then you start having a conversation about what they can do and what they can add. You start getting really fired up, and that is a fun thing to talk about as we get into summer. All right, we're going to get back to that conversation about Sam Darnold. Are we putting too much stock into 2 really bad games? That's next.
Brock and Salk.
Jeff Passan, who joins us every week. Let's start with the All-Star team. Cal, one of 7 players with a million-plus votes.
I think it's a great sign fans are recognizing Cal Raleigh for being one of the best players in Major League Baseball. I suppose it's easy for them to do so when you're leading the big leagues in home runs. He is the franchise now, and that fans around the country see that, I think, is a great sign for him.
Brock and Salk, morning 6 to 10 on Seattle Sports.
You know what's faster than your paycheck? Literally everything. It's time to get your pay up to speed. With Earnin, you can access your pay as you work instead of waiting days and weeks for a paycheck. Get up to $150 a day with a max of $750 between paydays. No interest, no credit checks, and no mandatory fees. Because, hey, it's your money. Download the Earnin app now to get it and join millions of people making any day payday. That's EARNIN. Earnin is not a bank. Access limits are based on your earnings and risk factors. Available in select states. Expedited transfers available for a fee. Terms and restrictions apply. Visit Earnin.com for full details.
You're free now. Free to stream beyond your wildest dreams.
Rom-coms, slasher-coms, space operas.
Free to fill your feed with impossibly chonky chonkers.
Cats, corgis, babies on demand.
Free to make your smart devices do silly things.
Bowl of chips on the Robo-Vacuum.
Free to open a world of remote work and Gametopia.
Who's the boss now?
Free to be everything you imagine. That's how it feels to have Quantum Fiber Internet. Your world unleashed. Learn more at quantumfiber.com.
Limited availability, service in select locations only.
Did you know that most people wait 6 or 7 years before they buy a new TV? That's a lot of time in front of one TV. So why not get one of the best sets for the next 7 years, like one of the top-rated Samsung, LG, or Sony models? Too expensive? What if you could get up to $1,000 trade-in for your old set? Who would do a stupid deal like this? Right now, at Video Only, you can get big bucks for your old set as a trade-in and a hot price on the new models. Don't be sorry. Check out Video Only.
This is for all you guys on Viagra. ED pills are no longer needed. The brutal side effects like 4-hour headaches, blurred vision, and that flush feeling can all be put behind you with our treatment. Here at West Coast Men's Health, we have a better approach to ED. Acoustic wave therapy creates blood flow circulation by safely removing the plaque in your arteries and restoring function naturally. Guys, let me be clear. Pills will never fix your problem. Our equipment is the latest technology, and our medical staff is the best in the industry. So give West Coast Men's Health a call today. Speak with our clinic manager. Ask him any question you like, how it works, the science behind it, and even the cost. If you suffer from ED or Peyronie's disease, give West Coast Men's Health a call today. It's not just about better health. It's about a better life.
With clinics in Redmond and Tacoma, call 206-519-6541. That's 206-519-6541. Online at westcoastmenshealth.com.
Hey, Mike Salk here with some exciting news from a family-owned business that's local here in Western Washington. Yeah, we love to root for these guys. It's Riverside Roofing, and they've once again earned the prestigious GAF Master Elite President's Club. Well, that puts them in the 99.9th percentile of all roofers in the nation. So you might remember I've been talking about only 3% of roofing companies nationally qualify for GAF Master Elite status. But how many of those achieve President's Club? Well, that's only 2%. Truly the cream of the crop. Proudly from Marysville and serving homeowners all over Western Washington, Riverside Roofing is the roofing company you can trust. So what does that mean for you, the homeowner? Well, it means you're hiring the best. A company that gets high marks in performance, reliability, and service, plus an elite warranty to match. Highly reviewed and highly recommended, certainly by me. Riverside Roofing is your go-to local roofing contractor. Book them now and get that roof done fast. I highly recommend them. Go to riversideroofingllc.com. They are the roofing company you can trust.
Overburdened with a bunch of stuff you don't want anymore, but feel bad throwing it away? John here with Happy Hauler, Seattle's eco-friendly junk removal. We prioritize donating and recycling. We'll help get your items to those in need instead of going to the landfill. At Happy Holler, we pride ourselves on responsibility, community, and sustainability. We're a family-run small business that provides junk removal, donations, and recycling. Make yourself, your community, and the planet happy. It's time to reclaim your space. HappyHoller.com, hauling with a heart.
If you want that summer body you've always dreamed of, then this message is for you, ladies, and you men too. Get rid of extra stubborn fat and address areas of loose skin around the waistline, chin, and under the upper arms with ProSculpt, the new one-day instant permanent fat removal and skin tightening treatment. Maybe you've tried the lasers, fat freezing methods, even those new pills, but without the desired results. ProSculpt is different. It's minimally invasive, performed while fully awake, gentle, yet powerful. Designed to target the waistline, chin, neck, arms, and thighs, ProSculpt uses FDA-cleared plasma technology to deliver immediate, permanent fat-reducing and skin-tightening results, all in just one visit. If you want that summer body this summer, then you must act now. Go to ProSculpt.com today to schedule your free consultation. Get $250 off. For instant, permanent fat reduction and skin tightening, visit ProSculpt.com.
Let's go! This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
The Mariners took 2 of 3 from the Cubs over the weekend. Their road trip continues with a series opener today against the Minnesota Twins. First pitch at 4:40 p.m. Pre-game show starts at 3:30 p.m. right here on Seattle Sports. The LSU Tigers won their second national title in 3 years Sunday with a 5-3 victory over Coastal Carolina in the Men's College World Series Finals.
Snapshot, brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time. From the Quantum Fiber Studio,
this is Bump and Stacy
on Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app and at seattlesports.com.
Now, here are your hosts, Michael Bumpus and Stacy Ross.
Here we go now. Let's get back to Sam Darnold. We had Michael Silver of The Athletic on with us earlier, Curtis Rogerson for Michael Bumpus. Michael Silver wrote a column on Sam Darnold knowing he needs to prove himself. It's available on NewYorkTimes.com and The Athletic. And he spoke as part of this column with John Schneider, Cooper Kupp, a couple people off the record about Sam Darnold, including getting some information about the Seahawks' pursuit of Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady's disinterest in signing Sam Darnold.
It's a lot of stuff.
A lot of stuff in here.
A lot of great stuff.
It's a longer read. It's really, really good. Highly recommend it. But we're going to focus just on expectations around Darnold and about how much of it is influenced by those 2 final games of the season. Curtis, you asked Michael Silver when we interviewed him earlier, not just how much he thinks those 2 games weighed into the league's evaluation of Darnold, but how costly he thinks they were.
Yeah, and I mean, would Darnold still be in Minnesota if those 2 games had gone differently? I think so. I think Minnesota would have made just about every effort to keep him around, at least for 1 more year. They'd probably franchise tag him, which would have come out to what, close to like $50 million if they chose to go that route. And it's not like the Vikings have been, hesitant to give quarterbacks the franchise tag because they gave Kirk Cousins the franchise tag, 2 years in a row. So it's not like they would have been, that would have been a foreign concept to them at all. But we're always told, and I mentioned this to Mike Silver, like, don't buy too much into a small sample size. And it's 2 games out of an 18-game season that Sam Darnold had last year, which he made 18 starts if you count regular season plus the playoffs. And those 2 games, yes, they happened at the very end of the season, and it happened in the biggest games of the year that the Vikings were going to play, one to determine home field advantage throughout the NFC playoffs, and then the other being a road, well, it was a neutral site game because it got moved to Glendale last minute. So neutral site playoff game between the Rams and Vikings. So I look at Sam Darnold's last 2 games of the season, and yes, that you want to be playing your best ball then, but I don't know if you can completely throw out what he did in basically the entire season prior to
No.
it.
I think two things are true. I think that those two games rightfully carry a lot of weight. And yeah, if they were to happen in weeks 1 and 2, and then Sam Darnold looked great, of course we'd be talking about a different thing. The reason that these two games carried a lot of weight is because you didn't see a Sam Darnold that got hurt and then was kind of hobbling through a game and kind of put up a fight, but it wasn't enough. You saw the I'm seeing ghosts out there Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
Like you saw the version of Sam Darnold that was very on brand for his worst version. And every quarterback, most quarterbacks, I should say, like I don't know how many versions of this Patrick Mahomes has, but the vast majority of quarterbacks, especially quarterbacks who were, considered at one point busts or failed prospects at one point, have that kind of worst version of themselves, right? With Geno, it was turnovers, red zone interceptions. And like when you see that version of Geno, you're especially concerned because it's on brand. The bad version. You know what I mean? You're like, but I know this is already a note. And if I've been told this is the bad version of him, then I'm going to put more weight and more stock into that bad version.
Sure.
So that's what it was with Sam Darnold. I'll go over those two games. So obviously you had week 18, game 17, the regular season finale against Detroit. It's a final score of 31-9. Sam Darnold completes just 43.9% of his passes. He doesn't throw a single touchdown. He doesn't have an interception, so that's great. And he's sacked twice. In that road playoff game against the LA Rams, it's a 27-9 loss. He's sacked 4 times by a suffocating Rams defensive line. He throws just 1 touchdown and an interception. Can't get much of anything going. He folded under pressure. And I don't know. Clearly, the Rams looked at what the Lions did and were like, what can we get going on here?
Well, and also the common thread of those two teams, the Lions and the Rams, those were the only two teams to beat the Vikings last year. They both swept the Vikings, or they both won 2 games against the Vikings. The Lions swept them in the regular season, and then the Rams beat the Vikings, I think it was on a Thursday night, with like a phantom face mask call or a missed face mask call.
Oh, my God, which was egregious.
Yeah.
Yes, you're right. It was... that was a 30-20 loss. It was a better game back in October.
Well, it was it was a 1-possession game, I believe, until the very end, and then the Rams scored a garbage time.
And that was a bad call. That might have been a win. It was.
But those were the only 2 teams to beat the Vikings last year. And maybe we're not giving the Lions and the Rams enough credit for what they were able to do against Minnesota and being the only 2 teams to stop them. Because I mean, look, which 2 teams in the NFC do we think right now have the best shot of knocking off the Eagles heading into the 2025 season?
Rams and Lions.
Rams and Lions, probably. Like, I don't think anybody else in the NFC has really
You got the Commanders, but they've got
to
to repeat the performance they had when they entered the season as having a ton of question marks up front on their offensive line and with their defense.
Yeah, and the defense especially, they've got to improve in that facet.
So they're going to need to kind of strike gold twice.
Exactly. Now, they've got a great baseline. You've got Jaden Daniels. You have the quarterback situation figured out. But I'm looking at the end of the season last year, and, like, yes, Sam Darnold's performance ultimately cost the Vikings, but, like, those were 2 really good teams.
Do you think it's unfair?
I think a little bit, yeah.
Why?
I think because so often guys perform less than what they would in the playoffs. The lights are brighter. The cameras are a little more in focus, and the stakes are ultimately higher. And Sam Darnold, to that point in his career, what's the biggest game he's ever played in? The Rose Bowl back in his college days when he was like 18 years old. So it's been a long time since he's played an NFL game with that much at stake. Chase Daniel, who was on with Brock and Salk a little bit ago, basically said, like, yeah, that was entirely new territory for Sam Darnold.
There was stuff open, right? And Detroit did a really good job, I think, of that game of getting pressure to Sam Darnold quickly and with the front 4. That's one of the things that Sam struggles with. If he gets pressure on him early, it's not the same type of quarterback. Now he moves well enough to get out of pressure and has made a lot of outside of the pocket plays. And I think that's what Detroit did. I mean, if you look, there's probably like 3 or 4 touchdowns, including a 2-point, I believe, that were open, fourth down. And if those are scored, it's a different game. It's a different thing. And people are always going to point to, oh, he's good in the regular season. He was great. But then when it mattered the most, right, there was some stuff to be left upon. He's never been put in a situation like that. If you look at his career, they've never really been a playoff team, any of the teams that he's been on, from Carolina to New York. So he's never had that situation. So that's a good thing, I think, if you're the Seahawks and say, hey, you need to grow from this.
And, I mean, look, he's last year he played the season at age 26, 27 years old. I think he turns 28 in the middle of this season. So, I mean, he's not super young anymore, but he's also not like this grizzled veteran
where you'd expect
quarterback.
to drop off a cliff.
No, and if that's his first taste of playoff experience, I would imagine he's learned a lot from that. An interesting point brought up by the 206, like Lamar Jackson in the playoffs has not been the same quarterback that he was in the regular season.
Fair, but Lamar Jackson in the regular season has looked like Lamar Jackson more often than Sam Darnold has. Like, I get what this listener is saying, which is that even some of the best products out there. I mean, Clayton Kershaw for a while, Peyton Manning carried that label for a minute. Like, a lot of players have kind of carried that, oh, they fall apart label into the postseason. The reason that I think I should correct myself also, it was 9 sacks by the LA Rams defensive line. Holy cow. I was looking at the wrong stat. The reason that Sam Darnold carries that doubt is because, yes, he threw for 35 touchdowns to 10 interceptions last season, and that was his best season, and it's not close. If Sam Darnold had played like that, or like a version of that, 30 touchdowns
for 5 years
in 2023, I think that he could have commanded more money in free agency. I think that the Vikings probably make a move to hang on to him. It's hard to put that much stock into, and I know this sounds ridiculous, the 15 games that preceded those two, or 16 games that preceded those two, because it was also the first time you'd seen it as a complete picture.
Yeah.
So I know that there's overwhelmingly more evidence that he grew as a passer than evidence that he's bad. And I don't think he's bad. But it was the first time you'd seen it. So the Lamar thing I get, but we've seen Lamar be a 2-time MVP.
Sure.
And we've seen one of the best single seasons from a quarterback, one of the most athletic quarterbacks we've seen. Like, we've seen that version multiple times.
Right. And we know that on his best day, Lamar Jackson is a quarterback that can win every single game that he plays in. Like,
he's been to the AFC Championship. Like, let's be for real.
Patrick Mahomes is a big reason why Lamar Jackson
if we
want to
talk about why Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen haven't advanced to the Super Bowl, it's a lot more to do with the Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes than it is them falling apart. Yeah. And I would argue the last visit by Lamar, that AFC Championship game where the Chiefs advanced to then face the 49ers in the Super Bowl, which they ultimately beat, that game was not that it was Lamar's worst. It was that the Ravens got away from their game plan.
Yeah. And, I mean, now I think, and Lamar Jackson enters this season just kind of in the same spot that he's always been, where it's like, oh, yeah, the only thing left for the Ravens to do is to beat the Chiefs, whereas there is still a lot for Sam Darnold still left to accomplish as a starting quarterback. Like, win a playoff game, get your team back to the playoffs. It's one thing to have a good season, and we've seen guys have good seasons here and there and not be able to replicate it, and then they just kind of get lost to history in the NFL. But I think Darnold is in a unique spot in that it's not like he's entering this Seahawks franchise with an empty cupboard. Like, he's got JSN to throw to. He's got Cooper Kupp to throw to. He's got
offense he's familiar with.
An offense he's familiar with, yeah. He's got potentially a pretty good run game if they can figure that out. If the offensive line takes the steps forward needed to fully execute this Kubiak system. So what he did in New York, I don't think they were anywhere close to being as built out as what they are here in Seattle.
No, the Jets are a mess.
Same with the Panthers. When he was in Carolina,
also a mess.
Those teams were really bad.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of the common thread when you find quarterbacks that have really struggled, whether it's Baker Mayfield bouncing back, Sam Darnold having a bounce back season, Geno Smith in 2022 with Seattle. It's like, where are the roots? Usually they're good draft picks. I know Geno was a second rounder, but good draft picks from messed up organizations that fail a lot of quarterbacks. Like, that is a common thread and worth noting. But I don't know. I think I'm most struck by other people's, not just other people's faith in or opinion of Sam Darnold, whether it's Kyle Shanahan telling Michael Silver, God, he reminds me a little bit of Steve Young. I don't want to compare the two, but he's, kind of got that slow start, some sneaky athleticism that's in there, a big arm. But also your point about John Schneider, I thought was a really good one that you made earlier in the show about, look, John Schneider hasn't had a misstep yet when it comes to quarterbacks.
Yeah, he has not failed in any pursuit of a quarterback yet. Like Geno Smith, not to the level of Russell Wilson in terms of just impacting the Seahawks the way that Russ was able to during his time here. And like, I know that Russ is not the flavor of the month for a lot of people, but you got to admit, like, he's the most talented guy to ever throw a football in a Seahawks uniform.
Who doesn't think that?
You'd
Crazy
be
people?
surprised. You'd be surprised. There's
Genuinely,
some people
like
out
you
there.
could have a personal distaste of Russell Wilson, and if you don't think he's the best quarterback in franchise history, I think you're an insane person who doesn't know ball.
So, but I don't think there's going to be a misstep here with Sam Darnold as the quarterback. I don't think it's going to be a 4-13 season the way a lot of people have been talking about Sam Darnold as a starting quarterback. And I don't think, I think the 24 Vikings had a much better roster. Defensively, they were great. Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison were fantastic too. But I think that what Sam Darnold has here in Seattle is probably the second best built-out team that he's ever worked with compared to what he's had earlier in his career.
Really, really good point. I can't wait to see it's so weird, Curtis. Just to kind of peel back the curtain, it's hard not to think about it from a content perspective or a show perspective. And when this team traded Geno, and then later when they signed Sam Darnold, and then even later when they drafted Jalen Milroe, I selfishly thought, oh my God, thank God. The Lord has delivered me so many storylines. And I am surprised at how, maybe it's because of Sam's personality, just being very low-key and chill. I'm surprised at how quiet a lot of the talk around Darnold has gotten. You know what I mean? Like, and I don't know if it's a lack of faith that he can be great, or if it's that he's just not that controversial and quotable, like he's a very low-key guy, or if it's that everyone's in wait-and-see mode with this team. But I have loved that article from Michael Silver, your points about John Schneider, because I like being curious about whether we could see something new.
Mm-hmm. I also think too, Sam Darnold kind of gives off the vibe of like the car that is economical, the car that it makes a lot of sense. And Jalen Milroe is like the sports car that's sitting in your garage that you're just waiting to.
You're like, it's so costly to insure this, but man,
like,
is it cool?
I want to unleash and go 150 miles an hour in this thing.
It's like you can't drive stick. You know what? I'm going to try it. I'm just going to wing it.
I want to go on my Shadur Sanders and go 120 miles an hour in this thing.
Going to take a look around the NFL coming up in about 15 minutes right now. Let's get to headline rewrites.
Extra, extra, read all about it.
Headline rewrites.
We must make headlines.
The real story behind the headlines in today's news with Bump and Stacy.
Headline number one, Cal Raleigh hit 4 home runs. Dom Canzone, Donovan Solano, and Mitch Garver all had multi-home run games as the Mariners took 2 of 3 from the NL Central leading Cubs. What's the real headline?
Listen, Donnie Barrels, I apologize. I wasn't familiar with your game. I mean, I was. Like, I had looked up your stats when you were signed. But I got into a little back and forth, Curtis, with a, I should say, Donovan Solano fan. I don't know, on X, who was saying that maybe my critiques were really unfair. And I said, well, I know it's a platoon guy, but you can't wait until the end of the season to have an evaluation on a guy. And I don't think it's unfair. To say that Donovan Solano was struggling to start this season. In 49 plate appearances, he was hitting like 150. Like, it's okay to say, hey, you want to see a little bit more, even if it's limited. Likewise, it's worth giving him his flowers for what we've seen in plate appearances more recently than just this weekend.
Yeah, tip of the cap to him. He was a difference maker in this series. 3 straight 3-hit games at Wrigley. I think he was interviewed after the game yesterday being like, oh yeah, the key to hitting here in Wrigley is you want to catch it on a hot, windy day. And it's like, oh, is that all it took?
Yeah.
That's all it took was to,
That's all it is.
You were like, trust me guys, I know what I'm doing here. But credit to him for having a phenomenal series, raising his batting average 60 points. Love to see the multi-home run game from Mitch Garver. Now, I'm going to be a little bit of a hater here, Stacy. Mitch Garver hit career home run number 100. How long do you think the Mariners had that graphic made up for him?
Curtis.
Like, how long ago do you think they had that?
You're being nasty. You're bullying me the way Cal Raleigh bullied me. You're bullying Mitch the way Cal Raleigh bullied me in my dream.
Oh, no.
He was
Mitch
really
Garver.
mean.
Yeah.
I don't think he's mean in real life.
No, I've interviewed Mitch Garver
But he was in my
before.
dream. No, I was talking about Cal.
Oh, Cal? He seems like a very nice guy.
He seems like a nice, funny guy, but in my dream, he was just a bully.
He's got 31 home runs, Stacy.
I know. I keep saying it's worth
He
it.
can kind of do whatever he wants.
I know.
Headline rewrites.
Headline 2. The next season of Netflix's Quarterback has been announced. It will feature Kirk Cousins, again, a repeat from season 1, Joe Burrow, and Jared Goff. It premieres on July 8th. What's the real headline?
A spoiler alert. Cover your ears. None of them win the Super Bowl this time around. I know.
What?
I didn't want to spoil the ending. I'm someone that looks up the ending. And I did find, indeed, that Kirk Cousins, Joe Burrow, and Jared Goff did not win this past year's Super Bowl.
Why tune in? I mean,
what are you actually, genuine question that you meant sarcastically, but I'm going to look at realistically. Genuinely, why tune in? What are you most excited to see with this?
Like you, I want to see the messiness between the Falcons and Kirk Cousins. I hope it picks up before the draft last year when the Falcons gave Cousins all these assurances like, yeah, you're a guy. Totally. You don't need to worry about anything. And then pick number 10 is Michael Penix Jr. That's what I'm hoping we see in this, although I don't know if it's going to go back that far. Maybe it does. And then also, Joe Burrow is going to be giving so many side eyes to everything that goes on in Cincinnati. He's going to give a lot of the Jim Halpert, like, directly look at the camera when things do not go his way. Just a lot
It's going to be like a go-ahead touchdown that's immediately
Really?
surrendered to Baltimore, and then it's going to show him just staring.
Yeah. I hope
They lost both of those games.
Yeah, it's just like, really, guys?
Yeah. Wasn't there that crazy stat? I don't know if it was both of those games or if it was 2 consecutive games around that second Baltimore game, but it was like Joe Burrow became the first quarterback to throw for 3 interceptions, 300 yards, no interceptions in each of those games and lose. Just wild. An MVP caliber performance. Also, still, thanks to just an oversaturation of talent in the AFC, never been a Pro Bowler. Last year's
Pro Bowler or All Pro?
Maybe I was thinking All Pro.
Yeah, I think it's never been an All Pro.
Has he been let me see this. Joe Burrow, Pro Bowler. Maybe I'm thinking All Pro.
I think it's All Pro. Either way, It's still ridiculous because he is clearly
He's a
one of
two-time
the
Pro
4
Bowler,
best
never an
quarterbacks in the
All-Pro.
NFL.
So last year's leader in yards and I think touchdowns. Not a first-team All-Pro.
Man.
Granted, Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen.
Josh
That's
Allen,
what I'm
Patrick
saying. It's like,
Mahomes.
imagine just being...
It's insane.
It's like getting a 3.99 GPA
And not
with
even
2
being
valedictorians who are like
yeah.
4.2 I never understood how people got
Yeah.
above a 4.0. It couldn't be me. I've never experienced
that's
that.
witchcraft right there.
Yeah.
Headline rewrites.
Headline 3, Kevin Durant has been traded to the Houston Rockets in exchange for Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks, and a haul of draft picks. What's the real headline?
Because we know next year's champion isn't coming from the East, we're officially rooting for every other Western Conference team to dethrone OKC. Go Rockets!
For real.
Blast off!
That Eastern Conference is going to be a hot mess express. People are talking about the Orlando Magic right now as the favorite out of the East.
Love that for them.
They have Paolo Banchero from O'Day High School and Franz Wagner. They just traded for Desmond Bane, but it's like, are any of those guys in any normal year, would those guys even come close to getting like the 5 seed in a conference? But Indiana, you're not going to have Tyrese Halliburton next year. Confirmed Achilles tear. Milwaukee, they're going through it with Damian Lillard. He's probably not going to play next year either with his torn Achilles. Boston, who, when healthy, probably would have the best shot at dethroning Oklahoma City. No Jason Tatum next year. That's going to be gross.
It's gonna be weird. Or we could see the emergence of some new stars. Maybe.
Sure. There's always that outlook.
Taking a look around the NFL coming your way next.
Blue 88 on Brock and Salk.
NFL basically now on hiatus. What do players, coaches, what does everybody do now?
But this is like, okay, we've been back at it, the majority of the guys, since mid-March, early March. You ramp it all the way up, and then now we got to just put it back in the freezer for 5 weeks. We didn't do all this work for the last 3 months for you to go spend a month drinking Busch Lights and getting away from everything.
Every day at 7:45, answering 3 football questions as only Brock Heward can.
Walking away from an interaction with a customer that says, I can't believe how easy this was. I can't thank you enough for helping me.
Our strategy with pricing is not to be the highest price and not to be the lowest price, but to be a really good price and to provide a really good experience to the customer.
Yeah, I have a ton of really memorable customers. Afterwards to thank us, he sent us this beautiful basket of like candies and fruits and stuff. It was just really sweet. It felt like we were truly helping.
Receiving a handwritten letter that's personalized to a salesperson or service advisor or a technician expressing gratitude, and then taking that home and sharing that with your family and hanging that on your refrigerator, that's the difference.
You hear it from one person, and then another, and another. You come to realize it's not a script, it's a belief. The LJ Way is the Lee Johnson Auto Family.
Rick Riz here for the Pella Windows and Doors of Western Washington's Improve Your Play program. Many of our local youth sports teams need help with field enhancements, training, and equipment. Local Pella owners Keith Dashafy and Luke Wilson are stepping up to donate $5,000 to 2 deserving teams. We need your help finding them. Head to seattlesports.com/play to nominate a deserving team in need. Let's help our local youth improve their play this year with Pella Windows and Doors of Western Washington. Contest and rules at seattlesports.com/play.
Progressive knows road trips without your pet can be tough.
Hi, this is Next Stop Dog Boarding.
Hi, it's Scott again. How's Squeaks doing? You can tell if he's stressed by his eyebrows. Oh, and his breathing should sound like this.
Scott, Squeaks is exactly the same as last time you called.
Okay, let's talk in 20 to see if anything's changed.
With Progressive, your pet is covered up to $1,000 in vet bills in case of a car accident. So next time, you can take your pet with you. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Not available in all states. Coverage for dogs and cats is included with the purchase of collision coverage and subject to policy terms.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Jane has 150,000 miles on her truck, and she's proud of that. Jane's secret? AutoZone, where friendly AutoZoners help her find the right parts. Jane's brother Josh only cares that his car starts and goes, but when it doesn't, he also goes to AutoZone, where friendly AutoZoners help with free services. No hassles, just help. Everything you need, nothing you don't.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Jane has 150,000 miles on her truck, and she's proud of that. Jane's secret? AutoZone, where friendly AutoZoners help her find the right parts. Jane's brother Josh only cares that his car starts and goes, but when it doesn't, he also goes to AutoZone, where friendly AutoZoners help with free services. No hassles, just help. Everything you need, nothing you don't.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Every success you've had began with a great opportunity. Now there's another one. Last aid year, University of Maryland Global Campus awarded over $21 million in scholarships to qualified students, including community college students, service members, veterans, and working adults. Now is the time to move your career forward with an online and accredited skills-based education. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
The home of the Mariners.
It is gone! Cal Raleigh, 2-run home run!
Hear every pitch on 710 and the Seattle Sports app.
When might you be buzzed? When you suddenly love everything.
You guys! I love this song! I love these nachos. I love our kickball league. Ugh! I love this guy. What's your name? You know what I'd love? A ride when it's time to head out.
If you see a buzzed warning sign, call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
I love your car. Is this real leather?
Febreze. As a rideshare driver, I love keeping my car smelling fresh and clean. So when I'm driving, I only trust Febreze car vent clips, featuring 3 distinct intensity settings, because it's that little touch that sets me apart. I can turn the intensity down for subtle freshness, or I can turn it up for when I want lots of scent. So whether it's set to low, medium, or high, with Febreze car, I know my car's going to smell amazing. Which keeps my driver rating right where it belongs. Picking up Oscar!
If you want that summer body you've always dreamed of, then this message is for you, ladies, and you men too. Get rid of extra stubborn fat and address areas of loose skin around the waistline, chin, and under the upper arms with ProSculpt, the new one-day instant permanent fat removal and skin tightening treatment. Maybe you've tried the lasers, fat freezing methods, even those new pills, but without the desired results. ProSculpt is different. It's minimally invasive, performed while fully awake, gentle, yet powerful. Designed to target the waistline, chin, neck, arms, and thighs, ProSculpt uses FDA-cleared plasma technology to deliver immediate, permanent fat-reducing and skin-tightening results, all in just one visit. If you want that summer body this summer, then you must act now. Go to ProSculpt.com today to schedule your free consultation. Get $250 off. For instant, permanent fat reduction and skin tightening, visit ProSculpt.com.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Coming up at 1, we're back to baseball with USA Today's Bob Nightengale. Before then, we're going to talk about how bold we think the Mariners could be at the deadline. And before then, sticking with the NFL, taking a look around the league. We're going to start with this one. Adam Schefter tells Pat McAfee that Jalen Ramsey, looking for a trade, would prefer to go to a West Coast team, specifically the Chargers or the Rams.
The Dolphins continue to have conversations about trading Jalen Ramsey, and I think that a trade there will get done. The question is, when does it get done? Does it get done next week, the week after, prior to the start of training camp? I don't know exactly when it's going to be, but Jalen Ramsey will get traded. It'll be, I would expect, before the start of training camp. We'll see how it shakes out, where he goes. I think he would like to go to the West Coast, to Los Angeles, Rams, Chargers, somewhere like that, and we'll see how that happens.
We'll love him to go to the Chargers.
Yeah, go to the AFC.
That for him.
Stay over there.
Yeah, there's
Jim
a couple
Harbaugh,
West Coast teams.
Yeah, I think the Chargers. You get to play in the same stadium that you used to play in.
Yeah, when you think about it, it's kind of like going to the Rams,
They
but
kind of
it's a fresh new start.
similar colors, right?
Yeah.
They're both blue and gold. Yeah, the NFC West, NFC schmest, right?
Yeah.
It's all about the AFC West.
That's what I've always said.
Yeah.
I've always said the AFC West is where you go when you want to win.
The AFC West, you're going to face much better competition, so you're just going to improve yourself.
The worst quarterbacks in football are in the AFC West. So there's just opportunities to just pick off.
Expectations, if you're not the Chiefs, are so much lower that if you finish in second place in the AFC West, you're really like first place in every other division.
That's such a good point.
Yeah.
You should tell him that. You should tweet at him and just make your case for him going to the Chargers over the Rams.
Jalen, look here. You want to go to the Chargers.
Have you ever wanted to be second best? No, unfortunately, I fear that he will go to the Rams.
Yeah, especially with the way that Sean McVay has talked about it this offseason. Like, he is not shying away at all from saying, like, oh, yeah, I love Jalen Ramsey. Like, I really appreciated his time here in L.A. Would love to do it again. It's like, oh, so you're open to a reunion. That's what you're saying.
Yes.
I don't want to see Jalen Ramsey in this division again. I really don't.
Well, speaking of this division, let's stick to it. Talking about the Cardinals this time, ESPN's Jeremy Fowler says the Cards will be expecting more from the former #1 overall pick Kyler Murray in 2025.
On offense, Kevin, they expect Kyler Murray to make a jump, and it's a jump he wants to make because he wants to get back to some more off-scripted plays. He told the media that he's at his best. Well, in fact, I checked in on that. I was told Arizona looked back at what Murray was doing a few years ago, where he and DeAndre Hopkins would always connect on those off-scripted plays. They said Hopkins was elite at it, and so was Murray. So this time around in OTAs and minicamp, sometimes they would sort of break the play a little bit. He would jump out just to test and see where guys show up. Marvin Harrison, Trey McBride, see how the pieces unfold. So they're going to see a lot of that. The Cardinals feel like he's a better on-time quarterback than he used to be.
I actually think that's true. Not just that he's a better on-time quarterback than he used to be, but that he is genuinely better when he's scrambling out to his right and tossing down the field. It's really a bummer. The Cardinals have had some good talent go through, but they've never, I shouldn't say never, it's been a minute since they've had a really complete team.
Yeah.
You know, like they'll have a star on defense and then a ton of question marks.
I do kind of wonder, though, if they're limited as a franchise because of what they're paying Kyler Murray. And, like, Kyler Murray, as we know, is a very exciting to watch quarterback, but
I think they've also not drafted well.
sure, yeah, especially, like, on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, they've got a first-round linebacker they then traded, right?
Yeah,
or
Isaiah
did they
Simmons.
keep him and trade someone else?
They traded
two.
Yeah, they traded Isaiah Simmons. There was another guy, too, that did
I
not
think they
pan out for
drafted
them.
another one.
Yeah, that ultimately led to, like, Steve Keim's firing. They have a new front office, new head coach there, and yeah, the Cardinals have definitely been more competitive over the last 2 seasons with Jonathan Gannon as their head coach, but I mean, it's year 3 now. And with Kyler, it's year 6 or 7 now?
It is crazy that as a number 1 overall pick, and it's not that he didn't get a ton of attention and some doubt given his size when he came into the league. I think that the Cardinals not being part of a national conversation all the time has meant a little less pressure on Kyler Murray. He got flack for the video game stuff. People were making fun of him for Call of Duty, but I think because the Cardinals' failure couldn't be directly pinned on him, it was like it's kind of floated. But you think about it, and it's like, you were a number 1 overall pick.
Right.
And you got a massive
you played
contract.
in 1 playoff game and had a horrible performance in that playoff game.
Just a sour attitude.
I do kind of wonder, though, the expectations and, like, the national coverage of the Cardinals, there just isn't a lot. Like, they are one of the kind of forgotten teams in the NFL, especially on a national scale.
Which is a bummer because Arizona's so beautiful. Wonderful malls.
Great chain restaurant scene.
I've had so many smoothies.
There's a pool in every yard.
It's so great.
It is. But I think the Cardinals just don't hit on people's radars the way that, let's say, if Kyler Murray were the quarterback of the Cowboys, like, oh my gosh, year 7, you only have 1 playoff appearance, people will be calling for your head.
Next story here, Travis Hunter is rich. He signed his rookie deal with the Jags, a fully guaranteed 4-year deal worth $46.6 million. Now, only 2 first-rounders remain unsigned, Cincinnati's Shamar Stewart and Denver corner Jahdae Barron.
Travis Hunter's 2025, I mean, what a guy. What a year he has had. Heisman Trophy, gets married, number 2 overall pick, $46 million guaranteed.
He's having a great time.
I'll take that.
A great
year
time
for him.
Yeah.
And he seems like such a nice dude.
He does seem very likable.
I like that he wears glasses. As a fellow glasses wearer, I appreciate that. Matt Nelson can get behind that too.
I've always wanted to wear glasses.
Just for glasses?
I was trying to when I was watching God, what's his name? The reliever for the Mariners, Taylor
Saucedo?
Taylor, no, wears glasses. Troy Taylor. Troy Taylor, thank you. I was trying to figure out whether his glasses are real or like the way I wear blue light glasses.
He's wearing blue light glasses out on the field because they got those fancy LEDs.
Yeah,
now
you have to protect your
that are
sleep.
flashing everywhere.
it's you got to protect your eyes from that with blue light glasses. Blue light glasses for people that have always wanted glasses. Finally, for us. Shedeur Sanders' recent speeding incident wasn't the first time he's been pulled over in Ohio this month. Back on June 5th, according to ESPN, he was cited going 91 in a 65-mile-per-hour zone. Shedeur, what are you doing?
Buddy.
He also seems like, from what's being reported, a good kid, like professional at least.
Yeah.
I know that that's more up and down.
Well, this speeding incident, I believe he did not appear in court for, so now he's subject to like a $270 fine on top of the speeding ticket.
It's actually $269.
Okay, $269. Nice. But I mean, 2 times in a month, that's not a good look.
I know that it's speeding, and I know it's something that many of us have done before.
Sure.
However, if I were speeding, let's say, 40 miles over, and my boss was like, please don't do this anymore because it's a bad look.
And then a couple
you'd not
weeks
catch
later,
me do it again. Yeah,
yeah.
You couldn't catch me.
Right.
Red-handed. speeding like that again. Like, I'll probably speed because it's hard not to. Sometimes, going 10 over or whatever. But egregious speeding when you're told specifically, like, please do not do this.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, who is it that had, these are not similar offenses, but John Morant, when people were like, well, the Second Amendment, who cares if he has a gun? Who cares if he does finger guns? And it's like, but rules are kind of different. Like, you have to have decorum when you're part of a team, because part of what they are paying for is your reputation, influence, that's part of the unspoken contract with the team. So when your team says, we're paying you millions and millions and millions of dollars, please stop doing this, because then, it just becomes a PR nightmare for us.
Well, and you become a representative of your team regardless of whether you're in uniform or not. Kind of like if any of us were to get in trouble, the first words that would lead off a newspaper headline would be, Seattle Sports is Stacy Ross, Seattle Sports is Curtis Rogers. Like, that's what we're known in the public as, even though we are our own people. We are...
I'm my own person.
You are.
I'm not just Stacy Ross of Seattle Sports. Okay?
You bring so much more to the table.
Stacy Ross of SeaTac, Washington.
That's right. But, like, we're representatives of this company, just as athletes are representatives of their team. You kind of got to, and when you're a rookie, you're learning that, like, oh wait, there's more that I'm responsible for now.
Yes, it very much is your job's business to know what you're doing in ways that would otherwise be an invasion of privacy or not that serious, right?
Sure.
But, how bold do we think the Mariners could be at the deadline? That's next.
Wyman and Bob, afternoons 2 to 7.
Talking about the Mariners plan for the trade deadline. You think people are reticent to the minor leagues and trade some prospects? I know fans develop a connection to names they hear over and over. Often you don't see these guys. I don't know how many people are making trips out to Everett or out to Tacoma to watch the young guys, but there just aren't any sure things.
Dave Wyman and Bob Stelton, afternoons 2 to 7 on Seattle Sports, the app, YouTube, and your smart speaker.
What's the biggest mistake you can make when selling your home? Settling for less money. That never happens with Orchard. Disappointing offers can wear you down, causing you to settle for thousands less. You don't have to settle when you sell with Orchard. Orchard reinvented the real estate industry by guaranteeing your home sale and helping you sell on the market for top dollar. First, Orchard gives you cash up front so you can buy and move into your new home first, on your timeline. No waiting, no showings, no double moves. Then once you're all settled in, your Orchard agent helps sell your home on market for top dollar. Here's what one Orchard customer said. I never could have sold without Orchard. I made way more than I expected, and it couldn't have been easier. With Orchard, you never have to settle for less. Buy before you sell and get top dollar for your home with Orchard. Curious how much your home is worth? Visit Orchard.com to get your free home valuation. That's Orchard.com. Orchard.com.
When it comes to the security of your business, doubts can creep in about who you're trusting to protect it. Are they a reliable service? How will I know if something happens? Are they keeping everyone safe? At Bay Alarm, we got you. For nearly 80 years, we've been putting our customers' minds at ease with our advanced technology and personalized support. Feeling insecure about your current security service? Visit bayalarm.com today to talk to a local security expert.
Ready for some summer hoops? Register your team for the July 12th and 13th Everett 3-on-3 tournament presented by Boeing. 4 players to a team, 2 days of exciting action, 1 incredible tournament. Players of all ages and abilities are encouraged to come out and play. You've got to register your team at everett3on3.net by July 1st. Each player gets an Amazon player bag. A special thank you to event sponsors City of Everett, Scott Dahl Real Estate, Coastal Community Bank, and Everett Downtown Storage.
Dave Wyman here for Harley Exteriors, a local company serving all of Western Washington for 23 years. Olympic Series windows are offered exclusively by Harley Exteriors, manufactured right here in Washington, specifically designed for our Pacific Northwest homes and climate. This is the window you want. It looks absolutely stunning, much better than a traditional vinyl window, and these windows last up to 60 years. They're going to lower your energy bills and provide year-round comfort. They come with a double lifetime, fully transferable warranty, meaning not only are you covered for glass breaking or damaged seals, it's going to help your resale and home value. Very affordable with options like 0 payments and 0 interest up to 12 months for qualified buyers. And this June, buy 3 windows and get 1 free, plus an additional $200 off your entire project. Think Harley Exteriors for windows, doors, and more in the Puget Sound. Call 8-333-HARLEY or go to harleyexteriors.com.
Need a new roof, a deck, siding, windows? Get up to $3,000 off any new installation. Hi, it's Justin Shirley, CEO of State Roofing and Exteriors. Home projects can add up fast, but we're here to help you save big. Book now and lock in up to $3,000 off in savings. That's $3,000 off any new installation. Call 866-ROOF-ROOF or visit stateroofing.com to schedule your free estimate today. State Roofing and Exteriors, held to a higher standard since 1968.
The home of the Mariners, Seattle Sports.
Cal swinging a drive, deep to right field.
Every pitch of every Mariners game is on the Seattle Sports app.
Tyrese live at Muckleshoot Event Center, Sunday, July 13th, 8 p.m. You've seen him on the screen. You've heard him on the radio. Now see him live for an unforgettable night. Get tickets before they sell out at MuckleshootCasino.com. Tyrese, only at Muckleshoot Casino Resort.
Matt Coker here from West Coast Men's Health. Guys, Viagra is not the answer for your problem. I know you think it is, but Viagra has horrible side effects, and for most men, the longer you're on it, the less it works. Viagra is not a curative medication. It's not fixing your problem. It's a Band-Aid for a shark bite. Acoustic wave therapy is the newest technology that can correct your problem, not just treat it. We can do something that no pill can do. We can restore your blood flow naturally. Get off Viagra today. Change your life like the thousands of men who already have, regardless of your age or your medical history. If you're tired of dealing with Peyronie's disease or erectile dysfunction, then call West Coast Men's Health today.
With clinics in Redmond and Tacoma, call 206-519-6541. That's 206-519-6541. 206-519-6541. Online at westcoastmenshealth.com.
Kick off your 4th of July weekend with a Mariners fireworks show at Seattle's summer home, T-Mobile Park. It's a Mariners patriotic party, Thursday, July 3rd, presented by T-Mobile.
Fly ball right field, sailing back, gone! Legend, Cal Raleigh!
Catch Cal and the crew take on the Royals at 7:10. Then stick around as the sky explodes with red, white, and boom. Lock in your seats now at mariners.com/fireworks.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio, you're listening to Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Bob Nightengale of USA Today joining us in less than 15 minutes. The Mariners make an appearance in his Sunday column for USA Today. Interesting nugget there when it comes to the Rafi Devers trade. Before we get to it, how bold do we think the Mariners could be at the deadline? Curtis Rogers in for Michael Bumpus. And Curtis, I'm guessing you hope that the answer is very bold.
I would love for it to be very bold. I would love for them to acquire a guy. And last year we kind of set the barometer of like somebody I don't need to Google.
Yeah. Which they did.
Yeah, Randy Rosarena, a known commodity.
Yeah.
I think that's a good baseline of what moves they should be making. It's people we don't have to Google.
I got into a back and forth with a listener that I think does represent a portion of Mariners, and I should say baseball fans in general, who get really excited about prospects and then say, why would you, let me see if I can find this person's tweets. I'll be paraphrasing, but they said, why would you give up the future of guys who are maybe a year away just to get a bat that's like a similar profile at the deadline? Because you're not going out and getting the best hitter on the market. You're just getting a guy.
Well, I mean, to even expect anybody in this farm system to replicate what a veteran player is doing at this stage in their career, like, I mean, yes, Colt Emerson was one of the top prospects. We had him on the show last week. He was great. But, like, no one knows what he's going to be at the big league level if he ever gets there. No one knows what, Laz Montez is going to be at the big league level if he ever gets there. Same with Felny and Celestin. Like, there's so many unknowns with even the best of the best prospects in this Mariners system that, like, can you take your chances on waiting a year or two for these guys?
I think it's more like or two.
Yeah, I think so too, especially with like Montez.
Your best talent's in Everett.
Yes, which is 2 steps away. You've got Arkansas, and then you've got Tacoma, and then you've got Seattle. So really, what, 3 steps away?
I'm just saying, I think that we think of it as, oh, your minor leaguers out in Tacoma, they're ready to come up. And it's like, no.
You've got Harry Ford down there.
Some
but
of your,
like,
but some of your best prospects are going to be in Everett. They're a little more than like, it's not like they're coming up in a couple months or even early next year.
No.
You're talking about, will you still have Kirby and Logan and Luis Castillo and all these guys here all together?
Mm-hmm.
That's barring injuries to guys. Like, you're talking about it being kind of a different team, potentially. Yeah. And that's okay. I mean, that's part of how this team is going to have to build itself is by developing talent because you can't go out and outspend. However, the flip side of that is we've seen how hard it is for them to add and to outbid guys in free agency to get guys to want to come here.
Yeah.
Part of how you're going to have to build up a championship roster is via trade. You have opportunities to do that. Not during the deadline, but this is a primary opportunity to do so.
Right. And, I mean, heck, look at the Giants who have not been able to land that coveted free agent that they've been so aggressively seeking over the last couple of years, whether it be Carlos Correa, who didn't sign because of like injury concerns, whether it be Aaron Judge, who looked like he was going to go to San Francisco and then backed out last minute and ended up going back to New York. Like, they probably learned, like, man, like it may not just be enough to outbid for these guys. We have to create an environment that, like, I don't know if it's possible in our ballpark.
Well, and again, this team has one playoff appearance in 22 years, 23 years. At a certain point, I don't know that being really, really hyper aggressive at a trade deadline and giving up a bunch of prospects and bringing someone in is going to get you there. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's not typically a route that they've taken. And if there's one thing we know to be true about this team, it's that they need to do something different.
Yeah.
Because taking a very measured approach just isn't enough for a team that's going to have a window opening more infrequently than regular contenders. And that's okay. That's the nature of the payroll you're working with, right? It's like the Royals. Like, they're just certain teams where it's like you got to take advantage of that window because you have to operate in windows. You don't get to prop a door open with money.
Right.
That's fine. That's okay. But this is a window. You have a player who you have Cal Raleigh playing like an MVP. You have a rotation that's getting healthier. Maybe Julio gets hot. I don't know. But you've got some pieces that could otherwise help you become better. JP's getting on base like crazy. All these things are good. That's a window.
Yeah.
So open it.
Right. And I think the Giants are a team that you can definitely look at and say that is a model the Mariners can absolutely mimic in a way where you're trading for a phenomenal piece in Rafael Devers. But I even think back to what they were when they won those World Series titles. They had a great pitching staff. They had a difference-making catcher who was homegrown. All these pieces were homegrown. Their pitching staff was homegrown. Their catcher was homegrown in Buster Posey. Brandon Crawford, their shortstop, he was homegrown. You can kind of lump J.P. Crawford among the homegrown guys, even though he got his start in Philadelphia, but was still very raw when he came over here to Seattle. So, like, there is a way, there's been a model of how the Mariners can go about building their team. And I kind of look at those Giants teams and what they were able to do is just kind of, filled out the rest of the roster with tons and tons of just really solid veteran players. Not necessarily superstar guys, but guys who just were very productive.
Missing pieces of a puzzle.
Exactly. Cody Ross was a guy, Pat Burrell, Angel Pagan, Andres Torres, I believe, was another guy. So, like, there were a lot of pieces to what they were doing there that weren't necessarily like the super duper stars, but the superstars on their team were the homegrown guys, just like they are here in Seattle with Julio, with Cal, with Logan Gilbert, with George Kirby, Brian Wu, all those names that we've seen come up over the last few years. But yeah, if the Mariners are going to want to do something different, and I hope they do, the deadline is going to be the most apt time to do it because, like we've talked about a lot today, no more waiting around. Please, no more waiting around.
One of the toughest questions to answer is, well, who's actually going to be selling? Who might be available, right? We can talk in circles all we want about, you got to do something, but coming up with the answer is something the front office is going to have to do, and that's a lot harder. So let's ask USA Today's Bob Nightengale who might be available, which teams might be sellers, and of course about the Mariners. He joins us next.
If you haven't subscribed to Seattle Sports on YouTube,
it's amazing. We just got to keep hammering it home.
You're missing part of the game.
The rest is history.
There's so much more than what happens on the field.
This is the place I love.
Subscribe now for in-depth inside information with Brock and Salk.
The Mariners' hit rate was way higher than that.
Bump and Stacy.
Cal's like a coach out there.
Wyman and Bob.
One day, breaking that record would be pretty cool.
Stream it live with the local sports leader on YouTube, Seattle Sports.
It is that time of year. I cannot wait for the weather to get warm like it is now on consecutive days. That means I can break the motorcycle out, ride to work, ride all over the place, and I love it more than just about anything. But I also know that it's not a matter of if, but when you get in an accident, what are you going to do? Well, I'll tell you, when you're injured in a motorcycle crash, don't settle for firms that say they're motorcycle lawyers. Trust the ones who live it. Law Tigers has been a part of the writing community for nearly 25 years nationwide. They're here 24/7. 365 days a year because writers deserve real support when they need it. Law Tigers is the resource writers can turn to when they are in need. Law Tigers is out at all the events and supporting all clubs and shops. The Law Tigers are always by your side. Your case evaluation is always free. There are no fees until your case settles. The Law Tigers, you never ride alone. Law Tigers, Washington's motorcycle lawyers. Jimmy Cook, 539 Broadway, Unit 104, Tacoma, Washington, 98402.
Hey, Brock Ewart here for my friends over at Xfinity. You know, change is always happening. It's part of life. And when it comes to music, we know that change is all around us. Songs are rewritten and remade. Classics are remixed. Bands and artists, well, they come and go. Even our taste in music, as we get older, can change a bit. But no matter how things change in 5 years, there's one thing that will stay the same. And that is the price of your internet. That's right. Xfinity is introducing a 5-year price guarantee. It means you get 5 years of the most reliable Wi-Fi with their best equipment included for a price that stays exactly the same. Are you surprised? Well, life is full of them. One internet price, 5 years, guaranteed. Learn more at Xfinity.com/deals. Now, restrictions apply. New residential customers only. Taxes and fees extra and subject to change. Most reliable Wi-Fi based on Open Signal Awards USA. Fixed Broadband Experience Report, August of 2024. Go check it all out right online at Xfinity.com/deals.
Values have to be within your leadership staff, right? And then that filters down into the rest of your staff.
We are together, we are a team, and without that thought process, you're sunk.
I still revert back to, if I work at a location and I'm willing to have my son work at this location, that should tell you a great deal. I didn't steer my son away, I steered my son to it.
They call it the Lee Johnson Auto Family, and it's not just a name, it's not just some cliche. They foster an environment for us to become a family.
As much as I'd love to think that they trust me, yeah, our family name is trusted, but it's because of those individual interactions with our people that those folks have had over the years. That's where they build their trust with the relationship.
The LJ way is the Lee Johnson Auto Family.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Jane has 150,000 miles on her truck, and she's proud of that. Jane's secret? AutoZone, where friendly AutoZoners help her find the right parts. Jane's brother Josh only cares that his car starts and goes, but when it doesn't, he also goes to AutoZone, where friendly AutoZoners help with free services. No hassles, just help. Everything you need, nothing you don't.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Tired of hearing scary radio ads about the IRS? Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000 or $500,000, we have a solution. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS with zero risk to you. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with a BBB. End your tax nightmare today by visiting TRA.com Or call 800-583-6681. That's 800-583-6681.
The IRS finally caught up with Louie.
I hadn't paid my taxes in 8 years. I owe the IRS a lot of money.
Louie was in deep trouble.
We're going to take your house, put a lien on your bank account, garnish your pay. They don't care. They're going to take your paycheck.
Louie found out about Optima Tax Relief, the leading tax resolution firm. A-plus rated by the Better Business Bureau, they've resolved over $1 billion for their clients.
Optima Tax, they helped me. They calmed me down. They made me feel comfortable, and I trust them.
Louie has a lot to be thankful for.
I don't owe the IRS anymore, and I'm able to live a comfortable life, a lot better life. It was because of Optima Tax.
For tax help you can trust, call Optima now for a free consultation. Take it from Louie.
If you owe the IRS, don't go it alone. Give Optima Tax a call. They can help you.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Let's go!
This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
The Mariners open a series today against the Minnesota Twins. First pitch at 4:40 p.m. Pregame show at 3:30 p.m. right here on Seattle Sports. Brian Wu on the mound. Cal Raleigh's leading all catchers, no surprise, in AL All-Star balloting. J.P. Crawford 8th among shortstops. Julio Rodriguez 9th among outfielders. And Jorge Polanco 8th among AL designated hitters. Voting closes Thursday.
Snapshot, brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time.
This hour is brought to you by Mazda of Everett.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bump and Stacy
on Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app and at seattlesports.com.
Now, here are your hosts, Michael Bumpus and Stacy Ross.
Here we go now. USA Today's Bob Nightengale joining us now on the Emerald Queen Casino Sportsbook Hotline. Bob, how's it going?
Yeah, doing great. Thanks, Stacy.
We're happy to have you on. We have a couple questions about, obviously, the Mariners. We're taking a look ahead to All-Star balloting. You posted the newest American League All-Star and National League All-Star balloting results. I'll actually start there. Cal Raleigh, no surprise, leading all catchers in All-Star balloting. Were there any names, though, among the league that did surprise you by their results or maybe lack thereof?
I was really surprised by Javier Baez. Right now he'd be the starting outfielder for the Tigers, and he's barely played the outfield, and it's the first year he's played it. So a little surprised by them. But you have so many, different. It's almost like the cities. Like you can tell, okay, the Cubs fans are certainly been out there. The Tigers fans. It seemed like then they still don't have all the cities, all their votes. So I think that's why it's so heavily populated by just a few teams so far.
Bob, about a week or so ago, you had a really fascinating conversation with Johnny Bench, who is, by all regards, the greatest catcher that's ever lived. And he had some tremendously high praise for the catcher out here in Seattle, Cal Raleigh, who is having one of the greatest first halves we've ever seen, regardless of position. What stood out to you most from Bench's comments about Cal Raleigh?
Yeah, just how much you really appreciate just sitting with him and talking, and his love and understanding for the game, and wanting to be great, wanting to be a great defensive catcher. Wasn't just about hitting home runs, but being an all-around great catcher like Bench was, Pedro Rodriguez was, that sort of thing. And just that team first attitude, and playing as much as he has. So Bench says, he watches, as many games as he can, or at least looks at the box scores. Obviously tough with the him in Florida in the time change, the time difference. But just what kind of person really Raleigh is, talking with him.
Great dude, really funny. I don't think anyone would be shocked if Aaron Judge were to come out and have a great season, and he is. But Cal's one of those guys where despite hitting 30 home runs in each of the last 2 seasons, I don't know how many people would have had him as like the number 1 catcher in baseball or even as hitting 31 home runs before the All-Star break, right? Like, I am surprised by that production. Has there been a season that you've seen that you can recall, it doesn't have to be a Mariners season, where you just thought, I can't believe this is happening? Like, it really kind of, a season that caught you off guard from a player?
A lot of times it'll happen with some older players, even like for instance, the Jurickson Profile last year with the Padres, to have that kind of breakout season at that age. But that being said, they get popped for PEDs. Like, okay, maybe now we know why.
Maybe we shouldn't have been.
right. That sort of thing. But it's always fun to see, people have breakouts, particularly age. But yeah, I mean, I think hitting 31 home runs. I covered Mike Piazza. I mean, he was an outstanding offensive catcher, but not defensively. But just to see this, and a month ago, you would have said, okay, Aaron Judge probably going to be unanimous MVP. Well, since then, Judge has kind of hit the wall offensively. We see what Raleigh is doing. And I think this vote could be closer than we think. It was always talked about, okay, can Bobby Witt ever knock off Aaron Judge? I think, if the vote was taken today, I think Judge would still win, but I think it'd be a lot closer than people think.
Hypothetical, what would Cal have to do to make you more confident that Cal would win AL MVP?
You probably get some magical numbers, like Tani too went nuts with the being the 50-50 club last year. But say if Raleigh hits 50 home runs, then it kind of wakes up everybody back east too. Like, wait a minute now, here's a catcher doing something we've never seen before. And what it's probably going to come down to, Stacy, is how the teams do.
Yeah.
Obviously, Cal's chances of winning MVP would be greatly enhanced if the Mariners make the playoffs. If they don't make the playoffs, it's going to hurt them.
Bob, you had a really interesting nugget in your Sunday column talking about the teams that had contacted the Red Sox, or the Red Sox had contacted about Rafael Devers, and the Mariners were in that group of teams that you listed. We'll get to maybe the Devers trade in a little bit here, but based off of that knowledge, how aggressive do you expect the Mariners to be at the deadline this year?
I think they will be aggressive, Mac. I really do. I mean, just as they've seen this year, you can't count on that pitch to be healthy year after year. They've been banged up pretty good. They're still hanging around. Let's face it, the American League is open. There's not one superpower. They say, oh, okay, they're doubling in the World Series. American League is down. It's not like National League is much stronger. So I expect them to be aggressive. I really do. It's like, hey, the time is now, and this window's not going to stay open forever. And got to take advantage of his pitching and take advantage of an offensive season or all-around season that Raleigh's having.
We had a listener who was texting into us. Shout out to the listener. Thanks for tuning in. Saying, God, this team has one of the best farm systems in baseball. And, so many of these prospects are so exciting. And they're a little nervous about giving them up. Bob, in the context of a team like Seattle, because it's unique context, it's not like in a vacuum. It's a team that doesn't have as much success in free agency, that can't open its pocketbooks in quite the same way. Do you need to feel more comfortable and make yourself more comfortable giving up prospects?
I mean, you have to, obviously you're going to fall in love with your prospects because you're one of the ones who sign them and develop them. You know their potential better than anybody because they're with you every single day. But, sometimes you got to make trades that hurt. The Padres, gave away, James Wood, C.J. Abrams, with the Washington Nationals and Mackenzie Gore, a stiff price to get Soto. But you ask him, they say, you know what, we do it over again because at least we went for it. We didn't get the World Series, we didn't win the World Series, but we did go for it. And I think what happens, too, if a team trades away prospects and gets some veteran help, it just picks up the entire clubhouse. Where the clubhouse goes, okay, they think we're good enough to win it. It fires us up. When a team doesn't do anything or even trades off, it's just so demoralizing for the players. Like, okay, if the front office doesn't believe in us, maybe we should believe in ourselves either.
Bob, getting back to some of your notes on the Devers trade, you had made mention that the Giants basically said, look, if we weren't willing to take on the rest of Devers' salary, there was not going to be a trade. Was that the biggest thing the Red Sox were looking for in a trade partner, was the salary relief of moving on from Devers' contract?
It's only helped. I mean, they could have done it if they said, they threw Hicks in that trade, that which saved them saved the Giants about $37 million. So, but no, I think it was a big thing. I don't think the Red Sox said, okay, you have to eat all of it, but, unless you give us a ton of great prospects, we do want you to eat all of it. So I think whoever traded for Devers, he owed $254.5, would probably have to, pay at least $200 million with good prospects to get him. I think, even though the Red Sox say, hey, we had other teams involved, we just didn't do it out of a vacuum, I do think that, there was nobody close except for the Giants when push comes to shove there.
What kind of Devers do you expect with San Francisco? He's not going to become their first home run hitter in 21 years this year, or first 30 home run hitter. Just not enough time. But do you think that he could become eventually?
He should be. I mean, that's what he is as a hitter. Not a great defensive player, not a great runner or anything like that. So, yeah, I mean, he should hit, wouldn't surprise me if he hit 30 home runs this year. I mean, just overall. I mean, not going to hit 30 this late just for the Giants only. But he should be that kind of hitter, and that's why they're paying him that kind of money to be that kind of star. For them, it's like they couldn't get any great hitter to go there. I mean, they traded for Giancarlo Stanton years ago. He turned it down. Aaron Judge, they had the big offer for him. He turned them down. Bryce Harper, on and on and on. And I think sometimes the Mariners might have to look at that too and said, hey, it's tough for us to get a hitter position player to come here. We're going to have to trade for one because otherwise we're not going to get one as a free agent.
Bob, we have seen Julio Rodriguez statistically put up the best first half of his career with 10 home runs, 35 runs driven in. But we've seen the power numbers take a dip as the contact numbers go up, and he seems to be swinging a lot more. The strikeout numbers are down. What have you made of his first half? Because it still kind of feels like, obviously he is so talented, but a lot of people out here kind of wanting more from him, especially now that we're in year 4 of his big league career.
Yeah, I think sometimes people get spoiled. You just want all this kind of superstar numbers. I mean, gave him a huge contract and, the big prospect coming up and everything else. So kind of, people fall in love with that. And then it's like, okay, what have you done for me lately? I mean, he's having a nice season. Not like Churio, Milwaukee, 75 better one. Certainly Ellie De La Cruz of Cincinnati. He's probably the biggest star so far of those young guys just on the big contracts. But yeah, I mean, it's a tough game. You see people have ups and downs, and there's always going to be I think the ceiling for him is still, unlimited, but I think people want to see stardom right away. It just doesn't work that way. I mean, even when the Baltimore Orioles, got the Holiday kid, everybody expected Holiday to be the next Cal Raleigh. It just takes time, and only now is he starting to kind of find his feet.
Both Curtis and I, Bob, have been talking about how the Mariners need to be aggressive at the deadline and you can't hoard prospects and, oh, gosh, please don't waste Cal's season. And I feel like I'm picking up a pitchfork and storming into the street and then going, okay, now what? Because we've both also gotten questions from people going, okay, well, who's available? Well, which teams are sellers? And I'm realizing how hard that question is to answer with expanded playoffs. I mean, you're far more well-connected. And a national reporter, when you look around the league, Bob, are there obvious sellers? I mean, outside of Colorado, I guess. And what teams are kind of on the verge?
Yeah, I mean, there's some, I think there's only like 6 obvious sellers.
Mm-hmm.
But that's how much parity there is in the game. No one's really pulled away. If I'm the Mariners fans, I root hard every night against Arizona Diamondbacks because then you got 2 guys. Eugenio Suarez, who obviously is a former Mariner, to go back up there. He's having a career season right now. Or Bo Naylor, the first baseman. But they have some, great chips, particularly the power bats. So those 2 guys stand out for as far as the Mariners' needs. Otherwise we're not going to see a Devers trade at the trade line we're not going to see anything that big. Just not enough star power to go around. But for the Mariners, and they've done enough trades too with the Diamondbacks, there's a good relationship between the two front offices. If the Diamondbacks are out of it, I would think Seattle would be all over Suarez.
Bob, do you think that we could see maybe a team like the Braves become sellers? I know they've got just all sorts of talent up and down that roster, but they've been a huge disappointment this season, 35-41, and they're also fading fast from that National League East race between Philadelphia and New York. Is that a team you look at as a potential seller here as we get closer to the deadline?
Yeah, I don't see it, Chris, just because they have so many young guys locked up. I think if they were hopelessly out, the only big guy would be Marcell Ozuna, the DH. And but otherwise, they're not going to trade, stars like Riley or Olsen or anything like that. So I think Ozuna could be, but that's about it. You look around, teams like Pittsburgh, they got some pitching and some guys are underachieving, like the Hayes kid at third base, but that's not going to move the needle either. So it's definitely going to be a seller's market because their teams are going to get a ton for the guys they give up on.
Bob's latest, a Sunday notes column that includes some stuff on the Mariners on USA Today. Make sure you're always reading Bob Nightengale's work, and you heard the man. We're rooting against the Diamondbacks. Thanks, Bob.
Thanks, Bob.
My pleasure. Thank you. Take care.
Have a good one. All right, let's get to 4 down territory.
This is 4 down territory, going inside the game. With former Seahawks and Coug wide receiver Michael Bumpus.
First down, Stacy. We had Mike Silver on earlier with us today. Check out the podcast, hour 2 of the Bump and Stacy podcast. You can listen to that. Which 2 nuggets stood out to you from his column in The Athletic on Sam Darnold?
I just added something to what's on tonight that you guys are going to hate. What stood out to me, 2 little nuggets. We've talked about them, and I'm going to revisit them. One, that according to a source that spoke with Michael Silver, Tom Brady did not want the Raiders to sign Sam Darnold. So not only does it open up the window into what did Tom Brady really like about Geno, whether he was plan A, B, or C. What did he really like about Geno, and what didn't he maybe love about Darnold? We don't know. We don't know the answer, but it was interesting. The other nugget was that the Seahawks were very seriously considering signing Aaron Rodgers. They were looking at, do we do something with Aaron Rodgers? Do we just go re-sign Drew Lock and roll with him? Do we go and get Sam Darnold, who's going to be a top free agent? As we know, they ended up doing 2 of the 3. They signed Sam Darnold. He's going to be the starter, and then still managed to get Drew as a backup, which is major. That's a major win for John Schneider, but you kind of wonder the what if. Like, what if Aaron Rodgers would have told the Seahawks, no, I'm ready to play. Sign me tomorrow. I'll be there. Like, you could have had Aaron Rodgers here in Seattle. John Schneider's roots in Green Bay go deep. He's from Green Bay.
He is. He all the time he's quoting Ted Thompson in his press conferences and in his interviews.
My favorite John Schneider moments are when you get the random kind of Midwest, like, hard. It's real hard when you're really, looking at it. And then it kind of goes back to Seattle, and then you just get a little bit of like a, yeah.
Second down. Speaking of John Schneider, what is the gamble he really made with the Geno Smith trade?
Yes, the gamble is kind of that Geno is, not going to be a massive, or wouldn't be a massive upgrade from Sam, that Sam isn't a massive downgrade from Geno. But the real gamble that John Schneider is making is that he can turn this run game around. You are betting that your team will be more complete, your offense more complete. You are betting that you can take a step forward on your offensive line, no pun intended. You are betting that your run game will be better than 29th in yards per carry last year. That's the real gamble you're making. If John Schneider truly felt that this team had nothing else to go off of, had absolutely no faith in Clint Kubiak or Mike McDonald to turn this around, he probably would have just sucked it up and kept Geno and given Geno whatever would make him happy, because he's also a guy that's never going to tank. John Schneider's never going to tank. He's always going to want to compete. Instead, I think that he's betting we can make this offense a run, maybe not run first, but like a very complementary offense, a complete offense. We're going to have that wide zone from Clint Kubiak, from the Shanahan tree, from a Shanahan-Kubiak branch. The roots also go deep, all the way back to a West Coast offense, a variation of it. So counting on having a team that is just a little more dynamic than when we're in trouble, we pass the ball. Is really the gamble that's being made here. And a little bit of it is also that Geno may not be worth what the Raiders will be paying him in 2026, right? Like, the Raiders are counting on Geno being effective for them in 26 because they committed money to Geno in 26, whereas the Seahawks wanted effectively a one-year deal, which is what they signed Darnold to.
They're down. Stacy, which rookie will you be watching this year for just bragging purposes only?
Listen, you guys know me. I'm not a bragger, okay?
You never.
I don't draw attention to myself. I don't make everything about me. Quickly, I'm going to make this about me. So the sports world has a lot of people who love to toot their own horn. Sometimes I'm one of them, but typically I don't because I'm not an analyst. I'm a host, okay? I'm not a former player. I try to stay in my lane. So rarely do I make, like, really, like, predictions that are out there. Like, I feel like most of my opinions are pretty run-of-the-mill. So, for instance, when I was on Cigar Thoughts back in the 23 draft, or 24, I said that I really like Jared Verse, and I was hoping the Seahawks would take Jared Verse. He goes on to become Defensive Rookie of the Year, but that's not me, like, calling my shot. That's me going, well, he's really good, and that'd be really interesting. Like, so it doesn't feel cool. That being said, I'm going to do it because, listen to me, I got a lot of flack for a video that we made for this past draft when I said what I think the Seahawks will do is trade back and take Gray Zabel. What I want them to do is do something reckless, like take Colston Loveland out of Michigan. And I got not dragged, but people were like, you're stupid. They shouldn't take a tight end. And I was like, no, but it could be a fun pick because this team hasn't gotten a ton out of tight ends ever.
Well, and they did take a tight end high in the draft.
Yes.
Second round.
Yes. And Colston Loveland is not only a need, but I think he might be the best tight end in this class. He's like one of the best players in this first round. He ended up going 10th overall to Chicago. If he has an all-pro type season, I will be bragging. I will be revisiting that story. I'll be reminding everyone that I wanted the Seahawks to take him. If he does nothing, I will say nothing.
Right.
I will pretend I never
Bring
said
no
that.
attention
I will not claim him. I will distance myself from this 4 down. I will go back in our audio logs.
Never happened.
And I will delete this sound.
I love it. 4th down.
Thank
you. This year we're going to be seeing 3 quarterbacks on Netflix's Quarterback. Jared Goff, Joe Burrow, and Kirk Cousins, who returns from season 1. Who would be the 4th quarterback you'd like to see?
I would have loved to see one of 2 rookies from last year, either Caleb Williams or Jaden Daniels. Jaden Daniels, for obvious reasons, you see what becomes a very deep playoff run all the way to the NFC Championship game. You see a really, really exciting, dynamic quarterback who is running the ball and extending plays, making plays happen. You're going to see a really, really cool Hail Mary against, I want to say, the Bears.
Yes.
Right? However, with Caleb, on the other side of things, I think that you see disarray in an organization, and you see what it looks like when a team doesn't have its you-know-what together.
Yeah.
And it would have been very interesting to see, because I think he's kind of got like a polarizing look where some people feel bad for him that he's with an organization that's clearly failed so many people, and other people look at him and go, oh, you're spoiled, you just wanted to control things and blah blah blah. And I would have liked more insight into, like, who is Caleb Williams? I can't tell which version he is. I want to see whether this is a guy who's super entitled and wanted to do things his way, or whether this is a kid that was left directionless with a mismanaged team. I would have been very curious to be a fly on the wall for that season.
There's the NBA version of quarterback, which is called Starting Five. And this year's Starting Five cast, no joke, includes Tyrese Halliburton and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. They got so lucky in naming those two to the...
Yeah.
It culminates in a Game 7 of the NBA Finals.
And we're gonna watch Tyrese get hurt, and
oh god,
I started tearing up when I was watching it, and I had to stop.
Well, because we all knew what it was
right away
as soon as we saw it.
Yeah, and just in that moment, like, it's any video of someone getting that emotional in an event where they're so close just kills me.
Brutal.
Let's see what's on tonight.
What's on tonight with Bump and Stacy, brought to you by Caesars Sportsbook at Muckleshoot. Now, here's what's on tonight.
The Mariners are on tonight, of course. They open a 4-game series against the Twins today in Minnesota. Pregame starts at 3:30 p.m. First pitch at 4:40 p.m. on Seattle Sports. And get ready. It's a new episode of Love Island USA. It's Casa
They're on more than the Mariners.
It's Casa More. It's on every single night except for Wednesdays.
162 episodes.
Oh my God! You wouldn't
believe
believe the episode that was on last night. No spoilers. I don't want to spoil it for the audience.
People wear bikinis and fall in love.
Running out of time.
Well, it's never too late to tune in and watch this show. And I will talk more about it.
Oh, please go to break.
Okay, time for a break now.
Wyman and Bob, afternoons 2 to 7.
The one, the only Tim Kirkchin is with us. How are you, sir?
Well, I'm just as confused as you are about the Mariners, if they're going to get really good or not.
Is it hard to understand where their needs truly are as we approach that trade deadline?
This team is due for a great stretch of great starting pitching. If they can score a few runs, maybe they can really make a playoff berth in the American League.
Dave Wyman and Bob Stelton, afternoons 2 to 7 on Seattle Sports, the app, YouTube, and your smart speaker.
If you've ever wondered if there's something after death, Tyler Henry proves the answer is yes. Be part of his live audience readings and his jaw-dropping ability to connect with the departed at Muckleshoot Event Center, Thursday, July 10th and Friday, July 11th at 8 p.m. Experience this evening of hope and healing, bringing peace and closure to loved ones. Tyler Henry proves our loved ones never leave us. Get tickets at muckleshootcasino.com.
Muckleshoot. Hey, baseball fans, Rick Riz here. I'm excited to introduce you to my good friend Keith Dashafy, owner of Pella Windows and Doors of Western Washington. Keith?
Thanks, Rick. At Pella Windows and Doors, we pride ourselves on delivering top-quality windows and doors that enhance the beauty and energy efficiency of your home. Our products are built to last with innovative designs and exceptional craftsmanship. Whether you're looking to upgrade your windows or install new doors, Pella has you covered.
That's fantastic, Keith. Don't wait. Schedule your free appointment today at PellaPNW.com.
Overburdened with a bunch of stuff you don't want anymore, but feel bad throwing it away? John here with Happy Hauler, Seattle's eco-friendly junk removal. We prioritize donating and recycling. We'll help get your items to those in need instead of going to the landfill. At Happy Hauler, we pride ourselves on responsibility, community, and sustainability. We're a family-run small business that provides junk removal, donations, and recycling. Make yourself, your community, and the planet happy. It's time to reclaim your space. HappyHauler.com, hauling with a heart.
When you switch to Progressive, you could save bundling your home and auto. Then you could put that money towards some of the surprisingly more expensive things in life.
Attention passengers, we've reached 10,000 feet and internet is now available for purchase.
I just paid hundreds for this flight, and you can't even throw in internet? I'll just take the free pretzels.
Sorry, but I do have snack boxes for sale.
I'm just gonna sleep.
In that case, we are selling pillows and blankets as well.
I'll just breathe. That's free, right?
Life costs a lot, so bundle and you could save with Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states.
Ready to order?
Yes. We're earning unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with a Capital One Saver card. So let's just get one of everything.
Everything?
Fire everything. The Capital One Saver card is at table 27 and they're earning unlimited 3% cash back.
Yes, Chef! This is so nice.
Had a feeling you'd want 3% cash back on dessert.
Ooh, tiramisu.
Earn unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver card. Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Throw down to second base, tagged by JP on the money, and he is out.
Home. Home is your domain, where you know every inch like the back of your hand.
Julio racing back out of the warning track, but he makes the catch, and he flashes to the no-fly zone.
A place that brings out your protective side, and a place you'll always stand up for.
Going and going, it will fly away.
Because what's inside is the most valuable thing in the world. Your family. Mariners baseball at T-Mobile Park. Welcome home.
The next Mariners homestand gets started with 3 straight value games against the Royals, Monday, June 30th through Wednesday, July 2nd. Score seats for as little as $11 and enjoy a beautiful summer night at the ballpark. Go to mariners.com/value games to lock in your seats and check out the complete Mariners value game schedule.
The home of the Mariners.
Left off to center, it is on its way. Julio, 2-run home run.
Hear every pitch on 710 and the Seattle Sports app.
Are you frustrated with those trendy weight loss shots and not getting the long-term results you really want? This is Dr. Ryan Coogan with Eastside Weight Loss, and whether you've hit a plateau, can't handle the side effects, or watch the pounds creep back after stopping, there's a better way. Our program has helped over 4,000 people lose up to 10 to 20% of their body weight in just 8 weeks without expensive injections or uncomfortable side effects. Our doctor-developed program costs up to half as much and works up to twice as fast. Ready for real lasting results? Visit eastsideweightlossclinic.com now to schedule your free consultation.
Did he just say Eastside Weight Loss Clinic is half the cost and works twice as fast as weight loss injections? Well, if that's not reason enough, you don't risk the scary side effects or gaining the weight back as soon as you stop. Eastside Weight Loss Clinic is natural, and it works.
Many clients lose 20 to 30 pounds in a month or two, and you can do our program remotely from anywhere you live. Schedule your free consultation at eastsideweightlossclinic.com. That's eastsideweightlossclinic.com.
Dr. Ryan Coogan, D.C. Results may vary.
This is for all you guys on Viagra. ED pills are no longer needed. The brutal side effects like 4-hour headaches, blurred vision, and that flush feeling can all be put behind you with our treatment. Here at West Coast Men's Health, we have a better approach to ED. Acoustic wave therapy creates blood flow circulation by safely removing the plaque in your arteries and restoring function naturally. Guys, let me be clear. Pills will never fix your problem. Our equipment is the latest technology, and our medical staff is the best in the industry. So give West Coast Men's Health a call today. Speak with our clinic manager. Ask him any question you like, how it works, the science behind it, and even the cost. If you suffer from ED or Peyronie's disease, give West Coast Men's Health a call today. It's not just about better health, it's about a better life.
With clinics in Redmond and Tacoma, call 206-519-6541. That's 206-519-6541. Online at westcoastmenshealth.com.
This hour is brought to you by Mazda of Everett.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Wyman really let you have it there.
He did.
Oh, man. Just
with one finger.
Entire commercial break of roasting each other.
It's great. I love that Wyman gets in on it,
Curtis,
too.
did you want to read the story that you found?
Yeah,
that you
as
read to
somebody
Matt and
that
I?
was not watching Love Island trailers during the break.
Well, first of all,
Paying
it
attention
wasn't
to
for lack of
sports
trying.
news.
I was trying to explain to you guys the concept of Love Island, how many days it's on, what Casa Amor is.
I still don't get it.
Read your dumb news story.
Cal Raleigh named American League Player of the Week again, second time this season.
Boring.
Five home runs, 12 runs driven in, stole 2 bases, hit .417. He's back.
Okay, but is he coupled up on
Second
Casa
time this
Amor?
month he's won American League Player of the Week.
And did he get voted as America's favorite couple?
Yeah, but is he on an island?
He's got
Is he in
1.9
the villa?
votes, 1.9 million votes for American
Do you know
League starting
almost
catcher.
a million people voted in the latest Love Island poll?
That's still not enough to reach Cal Raleigh's vote total for the All-Star game, which the ballot is still open, and the crew needs your help to secure a spot at this year's Midsummer Classic in Atlanta. You can vote up to 5 times per day, every day, through this Thursday, June 26th at MLB.com/vote.
Get your questions in for what I need to know. 866-979-3776. I had kind of a bummer segment planned, so I'm glad that we're starting out laughing and being silly. We got a half hour left. This is kind of where your mind goes after 3.5 hours. But feel free to chime in. I know you guys are going to have a couple answers for this one. I saw someone post yesterday on X, is this Pacers season, this Game 7, the most painful championship loss ever? And I immediately thought of a couple more, but I wanted to open it up to ask you, Curtis, Matt, if you have one, though I doubt it, and then listeners, to remember some of the most painful championship losses, regardless of sport, ever. And we'll figure out where the Pacers 24-25 season ranks. I don't think it's number 1.
No.
I immediately thought of 2 from the NFL. There are a couple NBA ones in there. But what did you think of? When I say painful championship losses, I'm talking Game 7 heartache or obviously a Super Bowl loss. What comes to mind for you?
Well, I mean, here in Seattle, obviously Super Bowl 49 for sure is at the top of our list in this town. Nothing will ever come close. Like even Super Bowl 40, as devastating as that loss was, pales in comparison to what it
I've
was
never
in Super Bowl
rewatched
49.
it.
Neither have I. I've never gone back and
Never
seen the
rewatched it
highlights. One championship game that came to mind and it had a very similar start to what last night's was between Indiana and OKC, was the BCS National Championship game between Texas and Auburn. I want to say 2014-ish. Texas quarterback Colt McCoy on the very first drive gets hit in a way that like it hit a nerve in his shoulder and his right shoulder, so his throwing arm, and it like deadened his arm, and he could not like re-enter the game because his arm was just like limp the rest of the game.
It's like when the energy sucked from a game early.
Yeah.
It's one thing if it's like it comes down to the wire and it's a buzzer beater, or it's it is like a while ago when it was Villanova and UNC or whatever, where it's like it truly is just everyone, at the risk of sounding pathetic, everyone tries their best. And you just end up getting a phenomenal game that comes down to the wire.
Play hard.
You hope both teams play hard and have fun. When you get a game that has a massive injury early, you can't fully enjoy the rest of the game,
right?
Because it's just lingering there.
Yeah.
It's this elephant in the room, and it creates an asterisk for the winning team, assuming it's not the team that suffers the injury. It also just, you're right, it just deflates everything. There's this really cool opportunity for a story of winning without that person, but it so rarely happens.
Did you ever think last night there was a chance that Indiana was going to pull it off? Because I did.
Briefly, yeah.
I thought even after the Halliburton injury.
They kept it close deep.
Yeah.
Into the not into
they
the
took a halftime. They took the lead into halftime last night. And just the way that things were going in that first half, it was just kind of like, okay, this team is not backing down. And that is kind of the one thing I'll take from this NBA playoffs is that it's going to be funny because I think if you're strictly talking about the 2025 NBA playoffs, you're probably going to remember the Pacers and their effort more than what OKC pulled out because, I mean, they won 68 games in the regular season. Like, they were the odds-on favorites the whole way through. And 20 years from now, people are going to look back on that NBA Finals and be like, okay, Oklahoma City won. Like, that was a really good team.
Yeah, but they're also going to remember Halliburton's jumper.
Yeah, they're going to remember just how tough this Indiana team was to eliminate. They entered the postseason with longer odds to win the championship than they had in the regular season. I think it was like plus 8,000 Indiana had to win the championship, and they made it all the way to Game 7 of the NBA Finals. I mean, I think definitely everybody in Seattle and I would say most NBA, just most basketball fans were rooting for Indiana last night, and just to see it kind of taken away. Another, in terms of like pain and injury causing the or impacting the end result of a series or a championship game, the 2019 NBA Finals between the Warriors and Raptors, Klay Thompson and Kevin Durant both get hurt in that series for Golden State. Toronto ends up winning that series in 6 games.
I had the 2016 Warriors as like potential heartbreak with that series against the Cavs, but then
73-9.
They had it buffered with a couple other championships, so I didn't feel. I was like, well, then you were a dynasty, so I don't really feel too bad. I feel bad for like, I had Super Bowl 49 as one of mine, but I also thought back to the Atlanta Falcons. I mean, 28-3. Everyone knows what 28-3 means. That might be one of the more just sad ones.
You just needed like a first down. In the fourth quarter.
You
would have won.
It's just the most improbable comeback.
Yeah.
You felt like you had it in the bag. You were the best offense that year. Had that year's MVP. Phenomenal production from Julio Jones. But importantly, and this is a really important part of it, then you didn't get back.
Yeah.
And for that matter, you could look at the Seahawks in Super Bowl 49 and say you didn't get back, but they haven't had the horrible seasons that the Falcons have had since. That, to me, is what also adds to heartbreak, is when it's not that that's going to be that team's only shot, but it's when they didn't get to do it again. Like, yeah, sorry, Warriors, you blew a lead, a series lead over the Cavs. We'd never seen it before, and then we saw this improbable comeback, and it's now in NBA lore. Then you won everything.
Yeah.
Multiple
it got
times.
ratcheted up to a level where it was like, oh, okay.
I find it far more heartbreaking when a team doesn't get back.
Yeah.
And that's when I look at the Pacers, you wonder, like, do you have the beginning of something really special, or are you not even going to touch the playoffs without Halliburton next year?
It in these windows, like you said, Stacy, are so fleeting. Like, you can look at a team and be like, oh, they've got the pieces to make it back, but the devastation that comes from losing in such a way like this is so hard to get over. You know, the 2015 Seahawks, after winning it in 2013, getting to the Super Bowl in 2014, the roster talent was there to get back to the Super Bowl.
The 2015 squad on paper was a top 5 offense and defense.
And they had added, I think they had added Jimmy Graham that offseason.
Yes, they did.
And it was like, okay, this is a way to, you know, exercise the demons of that February and get back to the Super Bowl. And they haven't even they haven't even gotten to the NFC Championship game.
No, one of what, 4 NFC?
I think 3
the Cowboys,
NFC teams now. Cowboys, the Bears, and
Giants.
Yeah,
it's just wild to look back and think you haven't. Not only, you're right, not touched the Super Bowl, not been back to the conference championship game. When 2 other teams, all 3 teams in your division have gone to the conference championship since you 2 have been to a Super Bowl. One's won a Super Bowl. So, but yeah, I had, I know it's Super Bowl 49 holds a special place in the sad part of my heart. But I think something about the Falcons loss and then just being abysmal since then felt like it was right up there in the terms of worst championship losses, because people laugh at you to this day.
I think the difference, though, is that becomes a punchline. I don't think anybody is going to consider this Pacers loss in that regard.
And if they are, they're lame.
Right. It was just a freak thing. Now, was playing Halliburton. I mean, you can't fault Halliburton at all for playing in Game 7. It was Game 7, but
it was over nothing.
Yeah, but man, just right as the game gets going, after they get off to such a great lead, he hits 3 threes in the first quarter.
There are times I get real weird about sports, and I start thinking like, is there like an evil twist to sports sometimes? I don't know if it's just being from Seattle. Like, there are times when you just think like sports can just feel bad. There are OKC fans that are certainly incredibly happy. And if I had no connection to Seattle, I'd probably see it as a cool story. But it's just so heartbreaking.
Yeah.
So, well, let's liven things up with what I need to know. Get your questions in. Any question, 866-979-3776. Coming up next.
Wyman and Bob, afternoons 2 to 7.
Talking about the Mariners' plan for the trade deadline. You think people are reticent to the minor leagues and trade some prospects? I know fans develop a connection to names they hear over and over. Often you don't see these guys. I don't know how many people are making trips out to Everett or out to Tacoma to watch the young guys, but there just aren't any sure things.
Dave Wyman and Bob Stelton, afternoons 2 to 7 on Seattle Sports, the app, YouTube, and your smart speaker.
When it comes to the security of your business, doubts can creep in about who you're trusting to protect it. Are they a reliable service? How will I know if something happens? Are they keeping everyone safe? At Bay Alarm, we got you. For nearly 80 years, we've been putting our customers' minds at ease with our advanced technology and personalized support. Feeling insecure about your current security service? Visit bayalarm.com today to talk to a local security expert.
Are you curious about who offers the best deals on top-rated Samsung, LG, and Sony TVs? The answer is surprising. It's not online, and it's not the warehouse clubs. The best deals on top-rated TVs are at Video Only. Don't believe it? Then check out the trade-in deals at Video Only. How about $500 for your old TV? Try doing that online. Before you buy that new TV, drop into Video Only. If you don't, you'll be sorry.
It is that time of year. I cannot wait for the weather to get warm like it is now on consecutive days. That means I can break the motorcycle out, ride to work, ride all over the place, and I love it more than just about anything. But I also know that it's not a matter of if, but when you get in an accident, what are you going to do? Well, I'll tell you, when you're injured in a motorcycle crash, don't settle for firms that say they're motorcycle lawyers. Trust the ones who live it. Law Tigers has been a part of the writing community for nearly 25 years nationwide. nationwide. They're here 24/7, 365 days a year because riders deserve real support when they need it. Law Tigers is the resource riders can turn to when they are in need. Law Tigers is out at all the events and supporting all clubs and shops. The Law Tigers are always by your side. Your case evaluation is always free. There are no fees until your case settles. The Law Tigers, you never ride alone. Law Tigers, Washington's motorcycle lawyers. Jimmy Cook, 539 Broadway, Unit 104, Tacoma, Washington, 98402.
Hey, Mike Salk here with some exciting news from a family-owned business that's local here in Western Washington. Yeah, we love to root for these guys. It's Riverside Roofing, and they've once again earned the prestigious GAF Master Elite President's Club. Well, that puts them in the 99.9th percentile of all roofers in the nation. So you might remember I've been talking about only 3% of roofing companies nationally qualify for GAF Master Elite status. But how many of those achieve President's Club? Well, that's only 2%. Truly the cream of the crop. Proudly from Marysville and serving homeowners all over Western Washington, Riverside Roofing is the roofing company you can trust. So what does that mean for you, the homeowner? Well, it means you're hiring the best. A company that gets high marks in performance, reliability, and service, plus an elite warranty to match. Highly reviewed and highly recommended, certainly by me. Riverside Roofing is your go-to local roofing contractor. Book them now and get that roof done fast. I highly recommend them. Go to riversideroofingllc.com. They are the roofing company you can trust.
Bonneville International radio station contests are open to participants 18 years of age or older that are residents of Washington State unless otherwise specified. Employees or agents of the station, Bonneville International Corporation, other area radio stations, or any entity associated with the contests are not eligible to win unless the station otherwise specifies at its own discretion. Persons who have won in the last 60 days from a station contest or event may not be eligible. Full general contest rules are available on seattlesports.com or in person at the station during regular business hours.
The home of the Mariners.
One hopper snared at short. On a quick hop by J.P. Crawford. That guy's a magician over there at shortstop.
Seattle Sports.
Download the Seattle Sports app.
Can't fix everything for everybody, but you can be there and listen and try to help with what you can. You're there to support them, and that's the best that you can do.
Justin Meek. He's the leader and caretaker of the 380 people who consider Lee Johnson their home.
This is my life. This is my family's life. The people that work here, they're my family. When something's not right with them, it's not right with us. My wife and 3 kids in the house, there's always something wrong with somebody at all times. And if there isn't, then something's wrong. When you have 388 employees, there's never a day that everything is good everywhere. You have to be okay with that. You have to look at that as opportunities to gain a better relationship with people and help them through what they're going through.
The LJ way is the Lee Johnson Auto Family.
Breaking news for the people of Boomtown. With Xfinity Mobile, the Wi-Fi is booming at home and on the go.
And an upgrade storm's on the way.
That's right. And with Xfinity Mobile Premium Unlimited, you can upgrade your phone when you want, up to 2 times a year.
Now, once customers catch wind of the guaranteed new device discount, it'll be the biggest upgrade storm in history.
Wow. Let's hear from our weatherman on the scene.
How's it looking out there, Rick?
Well, Bill, the Wi-Fi is still booming.
Now through September 30th, existing Xfinity Internet customers can get an unlimited line included for a year. Plus, ask how to get a free 5G phone. Learn more at XfinityMobile.com. Restrictions apply. Xfinity Internet required. Unlimited line offer requires Xfinity 300 megabit internet or above. Taxes, fees extra. After promo, regular rates apply. Reduced speeds after use of monthly data included with your data option. Data thresholds vary.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
What I need to know, get your questions, any question in right now, 866-979-3776. What I need to know, it doesn't have to be sports, but this one is. I heard the Pac-12 has until July 1st to get an 8th football team in order to be considered a conference by the NCAA. What happens, Curtis, if they don't get that 8th team?
Well, if they don't get an 8th, they're not eligible for the college football playoff. But it sounds like Texas State is going to be that 8th team. I don't think anything's official yet, but based off of what I've seen, I think Pete Thamel of ESPN, Ross Dellinger of Yahoo Sports, they both have zeroed in on Texas State being that team. And I mean, if you're the Pac-12, obviously getting into the Texas, recruiting grounds, like that's going to be highly important for any football conference. So to have just an opportunity to add a team from that state, I think
California and Texas.
Yeah, because you've got Fresno State, I think, coming to the Pac-12. So, yeah.
866-979-3776. What I need to know, prediction, how many home runs will Raleigh be at by the All-Star break?
All-Star break is
July 14th is the Derby, I think.
July 14th is Derby. So the 13th is when
that final game.
That game.
Sunday.
We're talking, what, 3 more weeks until the All-Star
How many
game?
series until the All-Star break? Are you looking at it in front of you?
I just have a regular old calendar in front of me, but there aren't many off days. I believe only one off day between now and the All-Star break, which is July 7th.
Okay, so here's what's in store. So you've got this series against the Twins, then the Rangers, 4 against the Royals, then you got the Pirates, Yankees, and the Tigers are your last series that weekend before you get into the All-Star break.
We're talking 3 weeks here. I think he ends up with 37.
Got some good pitching on deck.
I think 37 home runs by the All-Star break. He gets 6 more.
God.
Yeah.
You think he hits one today? He had an off day yesterday, right?
No, he played yesterday. He hit the home run.
Oh, yeah.
Today, that would be his 4th straight game with a home run.
No.
Sure, why not?
No.
Let's get crazy. Let's get reckless. I don't think it happens, but I think he hits number 37 by the All-Star break, which is July 13th.
You know what I'm bringing in tomorrow if Cal Raleigh hits a home run today?
Donuts.
You got it.
All right.
866-979-3776. What I need to know. Curtis.
Yes.
Says this listener. I love the throwback Sonics hat.
Thank you.
What I need to know. If the Sonics come back, should they go with traditional green and yellow or another color scheme? Also, OKC sucks.
I think you got to go green and yellow.
You have to, yes.
What was the point of keeping those colors in the negotiations between?
It has to be the Sonics.
Right.
With the Sonics colors.
Yeah,
it better not be blue.
No, it's not the Sonics without green and yellow.
I'm going to be sick if there's yet another team that's like, let's adopt the blue and green Seattle scheme. It's like, look, it's fine, but you can't have every single team with the same color palette.
Yeah.
I know that there isn't like, that kind of like baby blue color that the Kraken have with, let's say,
the
Seahawks,
color.
But still, it's like blue, cool tones are everywhere.
I am trying to think of what that new Seahawks alternate jersey is going to look like this year. I have no idea. It's supposed to draw from like elements within the city. It's just going to be like gray with like raindrop
it's
patterns.
also going to be cool toned. It's still going to be cool toned. 866-979-3776. Stacy, are you currently still using your lunchbox daily?
That's a great question from the 360.
Good question. What's the answer?
I lost it.
What about the water bottle?
Lost it? Where did you lose it? Yeah, what about the water bottle?
It's at home.
Stacy. We've
866-979-3776. Lake, beach, or dive bar. These feel like
those.
Wait,
I don't know how
what?
dive bar is related to a lake or a beach. Is this like best places to have a drink?
I think that's what it is.
Lake, beach,
at the
or
lake,
dive bar?
on a beach, or in a dive bar. I think that's what it is. Now, a lake and a beach don't have pull tabs.
True.
Or ready food.
But
however,
a lake and a beach
outside.
have water. They have outside air. Yeah.
I've always been partial to lakes.
I'll take a lake.
Yeah, just a little more
The
relaxed.
beaches around here, they're cold. They're rocky. Give me a lake.
Yeah.
Matt seems like he disagrees with my sentiment.
It's beach all the way. If that's just lame. Oh, it's too rocky. It's too cold. Grow up.
Jeez. 866-979-3776. Let's see. Get your questions in. What I need to know. What? You get to have an expansion team, but it can't be the Sonics name or Mariners win the World Series. Only one.
So you can only pick one of those scenarios. So an expansion NBA team comes back, but they can't be named the Sonics, or the Mariners win the World Series. I'm going to take the Mariners win the World Series because that ends in a championship.
Wait, so they're like, you just get a random expansion NBA team?
Yeah, it's like the Seattle.
But it can't be that. So you just get a new NBA
makers,
team, or your baseball team wins a World Series this year?
I'm taking the World
I mean, I want the
Series.
NBA back in Seattle. I want the Sonics in Seattle.
Right. It wouldn't be right without the Sonics name attached to it.
But I need to know, does Harry Ford play for the Mariners this year or get traded? There is a neither option wherein he stays at Tacoma.
Yeah.
But what if you had to choose what's more likely between the other two?
Well, if he doesn't make a debut for the Mariners, it's quite possible that he ends up traded somewhere, which could bring somebody else in.
Yeah. Good show.
Great show. 206 says whatever Matt wants is clearly wrong. That's right.
I want the Seattle coffee makers.
How about that? How about that? Wyman and Bob coming your way next.
Wyman and Bob, afternoons 2 to 7.
The one, the only Tim Kirchin is with us. How are you, sir?
Well, I'm just as confused as you are about the Mariners, if they're going to get really good or not.
Is it hard to understand where their needs truly are as we approach that trade deadline?
This team is due for a great stretch of great starting pitching. If they can score a few runs, maybe they can really make a playoff berth in the American League.
Dave Wyman and Bob Stelton, afternoons 2 to 7 on Seattle Sports, the app, YouTube, and your smart speaker.
The future is here, so why is your internet stuck in the past? With Quantum Fiber Internet, you can get next-level multi-gig speed on a reliable fiber network. Fair and honest pricing with no annual contracts or bundling required. And whole home 360 Wi-Fi to make sure your devices are ready to take you where you want to go. So you can stream, post, game, surf, like, and love to your heart's content. You do you. Let Quantum Fiber Internet take care of the rest. Learn more at quantumfiber.com. Limited availability, service, and speed in select locations only.
What's the biggest mistake you can make when selling your home? Settling for less money. That never happens with Orchard. Disappointing offers can wear you down, causing you to settle for thousands less. You don't have to settle when you sell with Orchard. Orchard reinvented the real estate industry by guaranteeing your home sale and helping you sell on the market for top dollar. First, Orchard gives you cash up front so you can buy and move into your new home first, on your timeline. No waiting, no showings, no double moves. Then once you're all settled in, your Orchard agent helps sell your home on market for top dollar. Here's what one Orchard customer said. I never could have sold without Orchard. I made way more than I expected, and it couldn't have been easier. With Orchard, you never have to settle for less. Buy before you sell and get top dollar for your home with Orchard. Curious how much your home is worth? Visit orchard.com to get your free home valuation. That's orchard.com. Orchard.com.
If you want that summer body you've always dreamed of, then this message is for you, ladies, and you men too. Get rid of extra stubborn fat and address areas of loose skin around the waistline, chin, and under the upper arms with ProSculpt, the new one-day instant permanent fat removal and skin tightening treatment. Maybe you've tried the lasers, fat freezing methods, even those new pills, but without the desired results. ProSculpt is different. It's minimally invasive, performed while fully awake, gentle, yet powerful. Designed to target the waistline, chin, neck, arms, and thighs, ProSculpt uses FDA-cleared plasma technology to deliver immediate, permanent fat-reducing and skin-tightening results, all in just one visit. If you want that summer body this summer, then you must act now. Go to ProSculpt.com today to schedule your free consultation. Get $250 off. For instant, permanent fat reduction and skin tightening, visit ProSculpt.com.
Dave Wyman here for Harley Exteriors, a local company serving all of Western Washington for 23 years. Olympic Series windows are offered exclusively by Harley Exteriors, manufactured right here in Washington, specifically designed for our Pacific Northwest homes and climate. This is the window you want. It looks absolutely stunning, much better than a traditional vinyl window, and these windows last up to 60 years. They're going to lower your energy bills and provide year-round comfort. They come with a double lifetime, fully transferable warranty, meaning not only are you covered for glass breaking or damaged seals, it's going to help your resale and home value. Very affordable with options like 0 payments and 0 interest up to 12 months for qualified buyers. And this June, buy 3 windows and get 1 free, plus an additional $200 off your entire project. Think Harley Exteriors for windows, doors, and more in the Puget Sound. Call 8-333-HARLEY or go to harleyexteriors.com.
Tyrese live at Muckleshoot Event Center, Sunday, July 13th, 8 p.m. You've seen him on the screen. You've heard him on the radio. Now see him live for an unforgettable night. Get tickets before they sell out at muckleshootcasino.com. Tyrese, only at Muckleshoot Casino Resort.
Why'd I go to the doctor? My heart would race just taking my son to practice. It didn't feel right. So I got checked out. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit notimetowait.com. Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting great candidates? Well, they're not hard to find when you go to ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. People who are actively looking for jobs like yours. So it's easy to find the right person fast. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free.